Tuesday here, episode 43 of GhettoRig podcast. Damn, we're getting further and further in time. That's surprising me. We're back here today. We got a good friend of mine, Kevin and Manuel, in today. You guys know Kevin. Manuel is a little new one for you. Oh, we also have Alex virtually here from Tennessee.
Because he's the only 10 we see.
Show him Alex there for their big and beautiful faces. Today we brought to you Manuel and Kevin. So Manuel and Kevin both were born in Cuba.
I just realized as well that you don't have any audio for the microphones. Let me fix that real quick.
Okay.
I think we need that.
Yep.
Mike's distributed to be Behringer 1-4.
That or I just can't monitor this.
Is it coming up on the bar?
Yes.
Okay, well then the stream's at least here. That's good.
Okay. It only happens when I'm on his screen. Or maybe it's because I'm listening to this. Anyways, continue. I'll figure it out.
As long as the stream can hear us.
I think we're good.
Or Mike's. Oh no, that was just you fighting that. Okay. No, it looks like the stream can hear us good. Okay, back to what I was talking about. So we brought here today Kevin and Manuel. They were both born in Cuba. You know, Kevin came over as I think it was like a toddler, right? You were only a couple years old.
3 years old.
But Manuel, what age you came?
20.
So Manuel was 20 years old when he came over to Cuba. And I've been really wanting to have someone like him on to talk about all the different experiences he's gone through. And we were talking about this the other day, and he's kind of, you know, lived all over with Cuba, you know, money without money. So he's going to have a lot of perspective. And he came over here from Cuba, and he's going to talk about all that today. But, you know, quick intro. So my name is Eddie. I'm 21. I'm the host, and my co-host Jay over there, Kevin, Alex, and Manuel. Kevin, give us your age and what you do for a living.
24, about to be 25 next month, and truck driver. Thanks to this guy, he got me into it.
Manuel, how old are you?
I'm 28.
28.
I do the same thing.
And he does the same thing.
The job business.
Yeah, he drives truck. You actually buy your own truck, right? I know Kevin's in the process of doing that, and you buy your truck. So you're able to give us a view on what it's like to have already bought it already. You know, we've talked to Kevin a little bit about the process and stuff like that, but you can tell us what it's like having it already.
It's literally just one more step. Like, it's something everybody on this business have to do at the end of the day.
So, it seems to be the goal of almost everybody who drives trucks is to buy their own truck and do it, right?
I don't think it have to be the goal. You can actually have more than one, and that can be your that can be your goal. Like monitor the chat, actually, you know. But yeah, it's another step for this business, and it's hard. Like everything you do for the first time, you know.
Yeah, got you. What's happening here? All good? The audio is super bad and echo.
When it's switching the cameras, I think when it's going from rogue to regular.
It was that?
I think it was this.
Okay. So,
Chat, give us thumbs up in the chat if you can hear us better. You have a delay, so this should come in about a minute delay. So give us a thumbs up or one if you hear us decent now.
Yeah, we tried setting up a little, not just one thing. We set up a bunch of new stuff today with the studio, changing up stuff around. You guys know Jay. Jay just turned 40. My co-host here does his finance stuff and podcasts and kicks ass every week, every day of the week doing jiu-jitsu. And then we have Alex. Alex, how old are you again?
28.
28.
So
we got
You ain't gonna sound like I'm so old.
No, just a lot of numbers bouncing around. I couldn't remember. Still the same. It still has echo. That's weird. So thumbs down on the audio being fixed. Okay, so let's take a look real quick. Let's see what's going on here.
While Eddie's doing that, guys, go ahead and hit that like button for us while you stream. If you can hear us, that can help us a bit. Is it only when Eddie's talking or when it's everyone else
Just turn off the camera.
That'll help us isolate
The
the
camera
issue.
Volume on OBS.
Yeah. Mickey just completely disabled that mic that we added today. Maybe it was that. Maybe it's having some kind of delay, and so you guys are hearing the stuff twice from that mic. Let us know what's going on there. He's setting up his other mic now. It should be good now. You shouldn't hear me. I'm sure you know what happens. I think it's everyone.
Everyone.
Okay.
But there was a minute delay, he just turned the mic off.
Let me take a look here. Oh no, my phone is actually busy right now with Alex. Be good now, you shouldn't hear me. I'm sure you know what happens. I think it's. You know what it might be? Let me see something.
You gained too much?
I had pumped it
Okay.
today because I wanted.
How's it now, guys? It should come through better, I think. So the main camera where you view
Yeah, it could have been the gain too. It could have been picking up a lot
there
more.
and I go, but the other camera it goes to normal.
That's weird that with other cameras it's going to normal.
Is the camera on? Maybe. Is the audio on the main camera on?
No. Oh. Yeah, but there is no audio coming out of that.
Okay.
So it's from the Behringer? Really? That's weird that with other cameras it's going to normal. It's not really like an echo, it's more just like it's picking up stuff in the back, right?
It's not isolating. It's picking up hella noise.
That's weird.
You still guys picking up a bunch of noise in the background?
Yeah. Let me get over there, I'm gonna take a look. Second eyes are always better. There. Kevin doing his little dance, I caught you. There, you good. Okay, so it looks like turning off that other mic did the trick.
All right, cool. So then
We'll
we should be good.
we'll
Back
set
on
that
track.
up after.
Yeah, guys, again, one more time, just hit that like button real quick for us if you can, please, if you want to. If you don't, that's okay too. As long as you're here, that's all that matters.
Yeah. I think it's good now. Thank you guys for helping us with that. Damn, gotta fuck with our train of thought and shit. Technical difficulties. Yeah, let's get back to it. So we brought Manuel here to talk about some stuff and his experiences. Like I said, I want to talk with him about Cuba. So, what part of Cuba were you born in?
Villa Clara.
Villa Clara.
It's basically the middle of the island. So, I mean, Cuba is pretty big.
Yeah,
It's pretty big. And
It's compare. You know, we always look at Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. It's one
I
of
mean,
the
it's,
biggest.
It's,
It's the biggest.
Cuba is actually an archipelago. I don't know how to say it in English. It's when it's bigger than an island.
Okay.
It's something else.
Okay, it's classified as something else, not
Yeah.
necessarily an island because it's so big. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And then did you grow up in Villa Clara or
Yeah,
you moved
I
to
mean,
other spots? Mudaste para otro
no,
lado?
no. I literally born in that house, and I lived my entire life.
Till you were 20
And,
until you
yeah.
left Cuba?
Yes.
Okay. By the way, guys, just so you know, we will be going Spanglish here a little bit
Uh-huh.
because Manuel's English, isn't very good looking, so we're gonna have to bounce back and forth. He's gonna try his best with us, but anytime he has to talk in Spanish, feel free. Lo cambiamos. I'll translate. Don't worry about
Para
it.
que tenga también
Yeah.
público en español, hermano.
Yeah, también. One day we want to do it in Spanish. So lo que no entienden en español y están mirando, un día lo queremos hacer para ti, pero one day.
Está bien.
Entonces, your whole life, Villa Clara. It mentioned to me you know what it's like to live with and without money. What did you mean by that? Go into that more. You mentioned that to me.
Yeah,
Noah's
I
birthday.
mean,
Shout out Noah.
the thing is, there is a big difference between people with money and with people without money.
Sorry,
Cuba,
did you
it's like the same.
did you first when you grew up? Did you have money and then not have money, or you didn't have money and then came into it?
It's not that I had money.
But you know what it was like.
Yeah, it's basically my dad was like the CEO of a big factory,
Okay.
and yeah, we basically have a good
So,
lifestyle.
What I understand what you're trying to get to is more of like having good connection.
Because
that's what really
connection to
matters
Cuba
there,
is
I
You know
It
what
is.
he's talking
It
about
is.
because
Yeah.
Cuba was heavily influenced by Russia, right? And all
Yeah.
the Russian countries, you didn't necessarily have money, but if you held high positions, it was different because it's like one hand washes the other one. You need something get done,
Yeah,
they do
Yeah.
it for you.
I mean,
Then they ask you to do stuff, then they
Yeah.
bring you stuff, you bring them stuff. That's how it works.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
necessarily not having money, but you had the
Wealth.
luxury of
Having
having
wealth.
things.
yeah,
It's kind of like what it is to
just
be
like
wealthy
that.
there. Not necessarily having a lot of cash money, but
It was more about like if you have the respect of the people, if you're holding high positions, many people need you.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
was things was easy to get done.
Because the thing is that the Cuban money don't have a lot of value.
Right.
So it's more important if you have contacts, if you have people that work here and there. That way you can, fix things.
Yeah.
Because
so
the
you
money
need you
doesn't
need to
have-
buy a house. You
Yeah.
need to get in line, but there's
There
a
you go.
2-year wait. You know, somebody they put you in the front of the line. You know,
Exactly.
little
Yeah.
bit under the table.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
bottle of Brugal or something like that.
I
now
wanna
you're
clue, I wanna
now you're
clue.
the first one in line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Money don't do a lot of things in Cuba.
Got you.
It's,
Yeah.
it's not all about money.
It's about quien tú conoces, who you know.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
like, and who you can talk to and
Yeah.
bargain with about exactly your position because you have this status and power to be able to move things around and
Just
you
like
know
that.
whatever.
Sometimes shit falls off the truck. You know.
Yeah, yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of shit falls off the truck sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, at the end, everybody has to steal something to
Yeah.
be alive, just to be alive.
If they- yeah.
Yeah, people have to steal things.
The level of corruption is a little bit different. I think, every country has corruption, and, the level is whether it's everybody else is doing it or just the higher echelon is doing it. Like people up there doing it or everybody else. But in Cuba, I think it's a little bit different. It's more like what I used to live. So,
Yeah, I mean, if the high people have corruption, obviously people
have to.
down there,
Yeah.
it's gonna be the same.
Yeah. It's they have to. But now you came when you were 20. So when you first came, what was the first thing, like when you walked into a store?
Cuando llegaste a
When
la
you walked
Yuma.
into a store,
Oh,
like
man.
Publix.
Oh man, I don't know how to explain that. That was crazy. You can imagine it, like
It's funny because we met him in a Walmart. As you say that,
Yeah.
that's funny.
Yeah. That's another crazy story.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys were trying to steal something from
No,
me.
I was thinking steal.
I mean, Mark, yeah.
We were trying to steal his wing off his car.
Yeah, looking at the
yeah.
wing.
But yeah, man, I mean, you can imagine get a fly in Cuba from a, I don't know, third world airport,
Yeah.
like nothing
Yeah.
crazy, and
You land in Tampa.
your first impression on United States is the Miami International Airport.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you can imagine how I feel
Yeah,
that
crazy.
moment. That's crazy.
So
I
you're
mean-
just like looking around like Disneyland.
What is? I mean, you guys have you been to Punta Cana?
Yeah.
Because you've been to Cuba as well, right? What would you?
No,
Oh,
I haven't.
but I know you probably haven't yet. Do you remember what the airport was like? No, in Cuba. No.
Very
Okay, I
shitty
wanted to
airport.
ask- Oh, do you
Very
remember? Have
shitty
you been to
airport.
Cuba?
I've gone
and,
to Cuba. Last time I went to Cuba, I think I was like 15, 16.
and then you've been to DR through flight, right?
Yeah. But
And
when
then
I was
compare those
younger-
two because
Pull
they're
up the
third world
pictures, bro.
countries, but
Yes.
it's not the same. A
Yeah,
lot
it's
of
not
people
the
say
same.
Cuba, Puerto Rico,
Not at all.
and
The
Dominican
very,
Republic are
very
all the
small
same.
airport of Cuba. The
Puerto Rico and
airport that
Dominican
I-
Republic,
They're not.
you can kind of say
No, they're
similarities, but
in
then
a
Cuba's on a
different
whole
level
different
for sure.
ballpark.
Yeah. I mean, the
Bro, people
airport
don't
that
have
I
toilet
landed
paper.
in
People
Cuba.
don't have water. People don't have the basic necessities. The shit's falling apart there.
Yeah.
I
Only
mean,
one
it's-
plane could land
But
at a time.
so yeah, exactly. What is that airport compared to, like, for example? Because they're
Very
both third world
small,
countries,
very-
but
I mean,
compared to DR, because DR still has a decent sized international
basically-
airport.
let me ask you this: do you have to walk to the plane? Literally walk
Sometimes,
to the plane?
sometimes in
Sometimes,
DR,
yeah.
yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. But
But no, todavía
Then
they
it's
still have it.
basically
They
pretty
still have
simple.
the terminals too. They have
Yeah.
the terminals that go
But
out.
it's
to
still
the-
nice.
They both
No.
ways.
it's
No.
still nice.
It's still
though.
nice.
When you
It
walk
kind
in,
of
it's
reminds
nice.
me of,
Trees and everything
like
taken care of.
Panama's
Not Cuba.
international airport.
In Cuba,
Colombia
it's
was kind of
it's
similar
not
too.
nice at all.
Airport
Trust
I
me.
landed in Cuba, like I'm telling you, only one plane could land and take off at a time. And when I walked in, it was just one big room where everything happened in that one big room. It wasn't like you go through like sections and this and that. No, it's just one big room. You get checked out. You get all your luggage checked and everything there, and then you just walk outside.
Yeah, I mean the process inside the airport is basically the same as
Yeah, I would assume the
everywhere.
same, yeah. Airport.
Yeah.
But the facility itself, man, drastically different. I'd assume. Yeah.
It is.
Going back to Cuba, what did you do for work? Because you lived there till you're
I
20 years
didn't
old.
work
You
in
didn't
Cuba.
work
No.
even till
No.
you were 20.
Like I'm telling you, my mom and my dad they were in a
Factory.
in a
Okay.
good position, if you can say it like that.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
And then, so being that you to get more into like the connections of like what we're talking about this status, compared to what you have to do when you're poor to how the process goes of, like, for example, just getting your dinner, because that it's different.
It's a lot different than here because I mean,
No,
you
I'm
can
saying,
think
but
like
within Cuba, within not having someone within that status or hierarchy that can achieve things a little easier than someone that working as like a bottom person in some place.
yeah. I mean, when you see the difference and that depending on the amount of money that people have here, when you see that difference here, is not that big difference as you can see in Cuba, because the difference between somebody that have just a little bit of money to the rest of the people is huge. It's like I have something to eat tomorrow and you don't. It's like that. It's not like here, because here maybe you don't have a lot of money, but you can still go to Walmart
And buy some
grocery,
dollar ramen,
right?
Or
So in Cuba, it's not like that.
Yeah.
In Cuba,
But
the
don't even
difference
have
is
food to
crazy.
buy.
Like you have to find out
from
the food for
from
tomorrow.
what I've heard, right? Because I'm around a lot of you guys. So lines that are all day long, you might not even be able to get through the line to get the food that you're looking for. A lot of times, right? Like that's the situation that people are in. If you have the money to spend to get in this line in the first place, right?
Yeah,
And
I
then
mean,
their supplies are like 0 to nothing, right? Like casi no tienen nada para comprar.
it's basically zero.
Yeah.
Yeah. Por ejemplo, mi familia, en ese caso, tenía por lo menos la posibilidad de tener resuelta la comida para el día siguiente.
Him and his family basically had the not luck, but like opportunity, right? To
be able to
get
buy
food for the next
to
day.
buy food. Yeah.
A lot of people in Cuba don't refer to meat markets as a meat market. It's more of a meat museum. You go in there and you look around, and it's if they have anything, it's way too expensive.
The entire island is a museum. When we talk about everything, the arquitectura, the
architecture,
los carros,
the cars,
everything.
Yeah, I love my my father-in-law, right? He collects old cars that he used to see in Cuba, and he specifically only takes carros de like cierto año, cars from certain years. Like
55, 56,
57 Bel Airs and Chevelles and old cars, and he's like, and nada más quiere. He only wants what he saw in Cuba. Lo que vio en Cuba.
No, what's the crazy part about that? They don't produce. Now think about it. If they don't have food, right? Where do they get the parts from? There are no parts. They manufacture them themselves. They make
like
them
I
themselves.
was told the other day. My dad told
even
me,
the bolts, bro. Even bolts.
My dad told me the other day. He goes, "You think over there when the alternator goes bad, they buy another alternator? No, they take it apart and they fix that bitch.
Find out why it went bad.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah,
and everything. When we say everything, it's literally everything.
Yeah.
There's not a shop. There's not a advanced
from everything.
auto parts.
Is it like in Colombia? So I went to Colombia, right? And then I'm sure you've seen online that they have on the mountains, all those houses that are just built on top of each other.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, like Brazil. Brazil is
like Brazil, right?
Yeah.
So none of those houses have addresses, right? Like those people just find a spot and it's like, okay, I'm gonna build here.
Yeah, Cuba has that.
Is Cuba kind of like that, or like do the houses have addresses, kind of thing? Like this is cierta calle or this thing, or just kind of just like
I mean.
Campo,
Ese árbol,
and they figured it out.
Toma derecho.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And when you see the viejo on that corner, you're gonna go right.
Pero básicamente es así para todos los latinos. Okay. Los latinos usamos ese tipo de direcciones.
Yeah.
Sí,
when it comes to telling direction, what you're saying is that the Latinos use that sense of direction. Like, if you go to ask one of my older uncles and where to go someplace, he's probably not going to tell you, like, the street. Right, he's going to tell you, okay, from where we're at from where we're at right now, you're going to go up this street, turn right. When you see this, turn left. Like, that's like their sense of setting directions,
Yeah, but I mean, the little town that I live in Cuba, it actually has like avenues and street and numbers, names.
Yeah, you had the monies. You had the
no, I mean, like I'm telling you, bro. Yeah. The whole money you can have in Cuba it's not money.
It's with the power and position you have.
Exactly. It's not the money what give you that
power, the ability to feed and provide. Yeah. Okay. You know, that's really important to notice. You know, I've heard a lot of people tell me, like, Emily, she's going to Cuba within like the last 5 or 6 years, I think it was. We were together, and she just explained to me, like, there's nothing to buy. You know, you see the videos, people have seen it, like when people go to visit Cuba to do like food stuff, like those guys that go around the world. What's the guy's name?
I don't know, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like all those channels that go around to the world to do food and stuff, and they show you the stores. Like, they're like, hey, look what I'll show you what an average supermarket looks like in Cuba, and they walk in and it's just empty.
Water.
Empty. There's
Water.
literally nothing.
And maybe cooking oil.
Yeah, and if what's there is way too expensive for any of the locals to even
Let me
purchase.
tell you this. An average Cuban, like the average salary for a Cuban normal person is around, I don't know, I think it's 2,000 to 3,000 Cuban pesos. That is basically around $20, 20 American dollars. And then for an entire month. And when you go to the store and you see a bottle of oil, cooking oil, costs like, I don't know, 2 grams, you say, bro, I have to work
whole month,
an entire month to be able to buy a
oil.
Bottle
Cooking
of
oil, just a bottle of cooking oil.
This is what
it's
I
crazy like that.
This is what I was telling you, Manuel. Like the houses over there, la casa. Esa casas, you know, I don't know if there's mountains like that in Cuba, but like
There are, but they don't make
No,
houses.
They don't
Cuba
make the
is
houses
more
there.
like flat. It's
Flat?
like Florida.
But what they were
Basically.
saying, that the way that these houses are constructed is that these people just find a spot and,
A
and
house
they decide
next to another one,
yeah,
next to another
and that,
And once it's big enough,
the
then they'll
government
make it
the
an actual
government
place.
tried to regulate it. They weren't able to. They literally weren't able
They
to.
regulate
They tried to come
everything.
in and be like, all right, we're gonna try and do like I'm assuming property tax style. Like we're gonna, you know.
Well, the problem
like,
with
there's
that
no
is,
way.
like the problem with talking about Colombia, like specifically Medellin, which is basically based in a
If you show my
valley,
if you show my
and you have the mountains
PC,
and
Miggy,
the
the
when it
audience can see
rains,
what I'm talking
that
about,
water
the house in
comes
Colombia on
down
the
and it
mountain.
fucking takes all these houses down with it. It like knocks them down. So it's a different.
Yeah, these houses
It's
are
a different
insane
structure
when you go
over there. There's
and
no
the way they're made is crazy.
no engineer, no civil engineering, nothing.
Those
It's
houses
just
are made.
Theo
by
decided
those
to build
guys
the
that
house,
live
you
there.
know?
The people that are
So,
living inside.
Of course, they
people-
don't have this
yeah.
knowledge to make something that actually.
Gonna
They
last.
just
prefer
you know what
to
they do? They
something
find
like that,
they
you know
find
what
their
I mean?
little spot. Their primo that works in construction. Primo,
Yeah.
I need those blocks that fell off the truck.
Exactly
You know what I mean?
like
And
that.
they take those blocks and
Yeah.
they build that shit themselves. And it's so sketchy. You remember when we were doing the the cable
Metro
car?
Cable, yeah.
We were doing the cable car. Because they actually use that as like a real way of transportation there, like legit. Just as much as they use the train there in Colombia, they use these metro cables, like
to get up to the mountain.
yeah, to get up to these exact spots. Right? We saw this. Dude, it is so sketchy.
It's fucking sketchy.
Sketchy as fuck the way that these houses are built. Like literally on top of each other, overhanging like crazy, no support. They're just like
Some of them had
the
just a
concrete. The concrete will hold.
All right.
Well,
In
some of
Cuba,
them just
there's-
had a fucking just a wooden wall, like a pressed wood wall.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's something in Cuba called cuarteria. Las cuarterias is basically this, but now a house on top of another house.
It's next to each
It's
other.
more next to
Yeah,
each other.
because it's flat. It's not on a
It's-
mountain, you know.
They call cuartería.
Okay.
Es como cuartería, ¿no?
Yeah.
¿No te suena la palabra como cuarto?
Yeah,
Muchos
yeah, yeah,
cuartos juntos.
Yeah.
Cuartería.
You know, I'm gonna ask a question. Go ahead.
And sorry, quick thing. Hay caso que they make them. Is there cases where they make them like one group of like section and then sell it off, like como cuartos, like sell it
Yeah,
off
of
like
course,
rooms?
No, not
Like I'm
even-
gonna make this big thing.
They don't-
Only my family's
they
gonna live
don't even
here,
have
and then
to sell.
sell.
For example, there's a big construction that is completely closed. The government is now using that building anymore. So people just start to get in and make their own place. And when you see, you have like 20 families living in the same abandoned building.
Yeah.
And it's just like that. Nobody's gonna take you out of that because the government say, well, if I have to give you a house, I better just leave you
alone.
inside that
If you figure
old building.
Tu-
Yeah,
tu
you figure
buscarás.
it out by yourself.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. So when the election happened in
Elections.
election.
There's nothing like that in
20,
Cuba.
no, I know there's nothing like that in Cuba. But when election in the United States happened in 2020, a lot of the Cuban Americans, you know, they're all about Trump. They were voting Trump, this and that, and a lot of them were like, a lot of the Democrats and liberals were saying, well, you're wrong, you shouldn't be voting for this, blah blah blah. So what do you think about that?
Well,
What can I see?
that's very easy to respond for a Cuban person, because we came from Cuba so scared of that system that whatever president we see, the most I'm gonna say it in Spanish. That way I can say something clear, because you know, el presidente que nosotros veamos que más esté en contra totalmente de cualquier ideología cercana a una ideología socialista.
Any president we see that is against all the ideologies of communism and socialism,
that's my guy.
That's the guy that the Cubans are going to look at and go, that's my guy.
Because we are so scared about, you know, that
style.
ideology, like the socialism.
I mean,
communism.
rightfully so, in a sense. You know, in a lot of places it really never works. So, and you guys have it coming from one of the worst situations. So it makes sense.
Yeah, when you see Trump saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna change Cuba," that guy said that. He said that. He said, "I'm gonna change Cuba. I'm gonna do something with Cuba." So every single Cuban say, "Yeah, bro."
Yeah, let's go.
They found someone that to give them a voice, try and back them a little bit.
But the problem is, you know, United States and Russia have been using Cuba as a proxy war against each other all this time.
The
and
whole
nobody
time.
give a fuck.
The whole time.
Nobody give a fuck about the Cuba, whether it's United States or Russia. They don't care, right? So Russia had the hold for what, 50 years? 50 plus? No, since the 60s, right? So 60 years, right? There's a
about
it's literally
something.
Now it's generation.
Yeah.
There's 3 generations.
You know something
almost.
I heard today? This is crazy. I didn't know about it. This is like un chisme.
Un chisme.
Que is running in Cuba right now. The thing is, the Cuban government own so much to Russia that now they don't have how to pay that. They are basically letting the Russia government get part of the island, like put some stores, gas stations, like literally come here and this island is yours because I own you so much that I can pay now.
Yeah.
So come
Makes
here
sense.
and do whatever you want. And that's something is running on the streets.
That's
a little rumor.
Rumor on the
Rumor,
streets.
right?
Yeah.
That'd be the correct
So
way to say it.
no, that's totally understandable. You know, when
guys
you do
want
come
chairs?
from that kind of environment, it's very difficult because I grew up during communism and I know what it is when, you know, when Armenia separated from Russia. For 3 years, we had. I'm lucky it was only 3 years that I lived in that. You know, Armenia after we left, they had a couple of more years of that, and then it changed, right? For 3 years, we didn't have electricity, we didn't have water, we didn't have food. It didn't matter that you had money. It didn't matter that you had money. There was still no food. You couldn't buy it. They give you food rations. Like, you know, you go to the store with the food rations, but you have to be in line. And one time my mom went to the store to get bread.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this viejito with this gigantic knife. Just came around there and just like, move out of the fucking way. I'm getting bread for my children. You know what I mean? So everybody had to separate, let him through because he was ready to stab people.
And nobody was going to stop
just
him.
to get bread that you have a food ration for.
I mean, you saying that, I say, bro, Cuba is little like the little brother of Russia, because all the stuff you saying is the same exact thing they do in Cuba. Yeah, they have the same ideology. You know?
So see, because I'm coming from that country, and sometimes it's almost like I have my eyes closed when I live in this country. I'm doing okay. Like you have a business, you're about to get the business, you're starting something on your own. Miggy's doing something else. Everybody else is doing something. I'm doing okay. My brother's doing okay.
Alex is doing great with him and his wife.
Yeah, Alex is doing super good too. You know, got a pretty good degree and doing, well, not degree, but a lot of experience in his field, and he's doing his thing. So is his wife. And when I almost have my eyes closed when somebody says, well, this thing is bad in the United States, I'm automatically like, well, you have no fucking idea what bad is.
Yeah, no.
Man,
you have no idea what bad is.
single
If
day.
you knew the 10% of what bad is, you wouldn't be saying that. But I also recognize that
That's why I
The
got you
country
here,
has
Alex. Tell them
issues
the
as
white
well.
man
Of
struggles.
course.
No,
I
see,
mean,
I don't
we
think-
can't. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I can empathize that there are much worse countries out there.
For sure.
But that doesn't excuse the fact that we need to also fix the fucked up parts of our country.
No, no.
Because
Yeah,
just like with
you're
Trump,
right. I mean,
you bring up the same party that passed bills against people of brown skin. Literally, DeSantis just passed a bill so he can pull you over as a truck driver and deport you if he feels like it. Like, that's the same party.
Well, yes, but see, actually, so here's the thing. That's true, but it is also not completely true. So there is that law aspect of things, right? But there's a lot of misinformation because not you, Alex, but because you actually read the news and. But majority of people looking at fucking TikTok and Instagram, and they really don't understand what the situation is right now. Yes, they're passing these laws. They're saying this. They're saying that. But here's the situation: if you're driving the car, they can pull you over and send you back. But if you're as a passenger in a car, if the police pulls you over, the person that's driving can get in trouble, right? But police has no right to ask them for some sort of a documents, right? But then again,
Doesn't stop the police.
damn, that's crazy.
that's the case.
From doing it, right?
That's the
It
thing.
never stops the
You
police.
can know the
They-
rule. You can know the rule. You can know the law. But if the police says, "Well, your light is off," or you are a suspect in this and that, they lock you up. Now they're checking you. Now you're in deep shit.
Yep.
But I mean, what if I'm an Uber driver and I don't know if this guy has papers or no? Like, I'm just taking a ride. What about that?
That reminds
What the
me.
cops
I
can-
saw a guy.
Yeah.
It's funny because the cop roasted him. He's like, "Why is a lawyer driving Uber?" He's like, "Bro, you have no business in why." But anyways, his lawyer was driving Uber, right? And he's got a guy in his car, and they were tracking this guy, right? And they followed the
He
car.
wasn't a
bam,
lawyer.
bam,
Is
bam.
you talking about the guy with the ponytail?
No, I'm
That was
talking about a
another
guy that
guy?
was
Okay.
actually a lawyer. He showed him his fucking bar certification, and everything to the cop because
No.
was-
Yeah,
Did the
I'm
guy
not
have a
sure.
ponytail?
the one that was getting pulled over. I don't think so.
The driver.
The driver, no.
Because he was saying. So there. Okay, go ahead.
The one I saw, anyways, that they pulled this lawyer over and they started talking about like, yeah, we've investigated this guy, like we're arresting him, blah blah. He's like, okay, like take him. Like I'm just an Uber driver. I'm just like a taxi, right? Like, and then the cop insists on investigating this lawyer. He wants to check his car. He's talking about I'm gonna get the dogs. Can you step out? The lawyer was being an asshole about the window. Can you roll your window down? All that stuff, right? And he's talking against a lawyer, so who else knows this shit more?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like way better than the cop does. He practices the law versus like enforcing it, right? Argue he knows it more. And they just were ripping this cop, and I think he got into trouble afterwards.
Yeah.
But
Well, see, a lot of times what happens is the ICE
they're
agents.
there to protect that.
It's the ICE agents that come in, right, and do these things because ICE was designed specifically for that, to capture illegal immigrants and send them back. But here's the
They
catch.
also don't care if you're legal either.
Huh?
We've sent multiple legal immigrants back to their
have.
Yep.
original companies,
What? Yes.
countries.
So
Companies.
ICE is like that. But right now ICE, because see, this is they're scaring the people. Right now ICE is going after people that are actually criminals, right? Like that's their job, to go after the criminals. Along the way, they're actually locking up a bunch of other people that don't have documents to show that they're doing some sort of a job because they got a budget to take care of, right? But the thing with ICE is a lot of times when they come in, they'll show you a document and say, well, here's an order for me to check this person's documents. But most of the time, that order is not signed by the judge. If it's not signed by the judge, it is not a federal order. So you have all the rights to say, no, I'm not showing you any documents unless
Yeah.
the shit's signed.
Yeah.
It has to be legal through federal judge signed and through prosecutor signed. They can't just come in and show you the documents. So
Real.
if they're knocking on your door and they say, police, don't fucking open it. Don't open the door. Even
Yeah,
though
right.
you're
I
inside,
mean,
don't
you're
open the
in
fucking
problem.
door. Don't talk to them. Don't let them come in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The minute you invite them over, now they can do whatever the fuck they want. But here's the problem. We know all these rules. We know all this shit, right? But if they lock you up, you're not a lawyer. Now you have to look for a fucking lawyer. Now you have to try to get out of it. Now you have to do this. Now you have to do that. And if you don't have a good lawyer, guess what's going to happen? You're
I
getting
mean,
deported.
The kind of people we're talking about is the people that don't have enough money to pay
Correct,
for a lawyer
correct.
or something like that.
And those
So
are not the
they are
criminals.
getting in
Those are
real
the guys
trouble.
that are out there fixing fucking roofs.
Yeah,
they're
working
picking strawberries. They,
construction jobs.
yeah, they're
100%.
doing the shit that Americans don't want to do.
Real quick, let's shout out
Yeah.
The
everybody.
truck
in
drivers
chat.
that are refusing to drive into Florida.
Yep.
I mean,
And
this,
working
Yo, we
Florida
want to
now.
talk
A
about that
really
Star Wars thing we were
complicated
talking about
topic
earlier.
because-
Oh,
over here,
yeah.
So real quick, everybody shout out in the chat. Thank you, Natalie, Arthur, my dad, Miguel's dad, coming in. Space Dog, I'm not sure exactly who that is, but thank you for coming in. Rodolfo, all you guys, GG, appreciate it for you guys being in the chat and being here with us tonight. So, back to what you guys were talking about just now, you know, in Cuba and stuff. What is that like coming over here? So you came over here when you were 20 years old. ¿Cuál es el proceso? What's the process that you took to come over here? Because there's a lot of different stories coming from Cuba.
Yeah,
You know,
I
you
mean-
can hear something from all over the place, like how you explained to me, going through South America, una barca, which is a raft, all the different ways, right?
Nevera.
Yeah, right. You've seen they make freaking refrigerators.
Rafts from refrigerators.
Yeah, they make refrigerators and take these refrigerators and somehow make a raft out of it and get over here. And
Put
they
a
put
diesel
motors
engine
in
in
it.
it,
It's
yeah.
not like they're just rowing by hand. Like they legit rig a little motor in the middle of this fridge and they come over and stuff. But give me some insight on how you came over
Yeah,
here.
I mean the way that my family used to come here, it's basically the easiest. I can say the easiest way. I'm pretty sure it's not the easiest way because the easiest way it will be like if you have your dad here
So-
and he
Take care of the documents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like for example, I think that's how Emily's cousin was Alejandra did it in her family, right? Like they did it through Normita, Emily's mom, and they were
yeah,
able
but
to
that,
get.
that's not the way I use.
No, and
Yeah, I know that's not the way you
Alejandra's
did it, but I'm
dad
saying
was
I think
here,
that's what you're referring to as the
Yeah.
literally the
The
easiest way.
easiest
too.
way.
It's because
The
Alejandra's dad
Exactly.
came first.
And
But-
also that has to do with it.
Alejandra's dad came first after he spent like a year, almost 2 years here. That's when he can file for his paperwork.
But I thought Normita
Because
was
the minute
one who
you
filed
hit
for
the
them.
minute you hit
I think it was
United
both of
States
them.
soil,
Both
now
of them?
you're
One.
okay.
And that helps.
No?
So that's more than one.
The
Yeah,
minute
it's
you
like
hit
the actual fault.
Dominican
Got you.
people, you said?
no Cuban people. The minute you hit United States soil, you're okay, right? But you have to be on United States land, or no?
I think Obama took that.
Yeah,
took that
Obama
away.
took that
Yeah,
away.
Wait,
right at the end.
A liberal
it's
president
called
took that away.
PSA.
Yep, right at the
Yeah.
end.
What
He was
happened
like-
there?
He was
Bro.
like, "Let me sprinkle a little
Yeah.
fucked upness before I
Literally.
leave to,
So I
to
guess
Right.
they're
start
both
up
corrupt as
to
fuck.
start up
Bro.
Trump's
That was after
train of."
they had
Little
elected the other
before
guy and
he
everything.
he
That was a
stopped
stone
his
into
president's
Alex's garden.
time. Yeah, literally.
I agree
It's
with
like-
you. They're both sides are
Yeah.
fucking corrupt.
Yeah.
They are.
Obama
for
was
sure.
Obama did good things, but he was also a corporate Democrat.
Yeah,
All he
yeah.
wanted was to make the money for people at the top.
Yeah, so Gigi said that doesn't exist anymore. It was the wet foot, dry foot law. That's what
Yeah.
it was called.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
that was
took
So
taken
if
Yeah,
out.
Obama
Obama
took it,
took
it doesn't
it.
exist for
Yeah.
8 years now.
You can't even really seek asylum now either because Trump made that go out the window,
But
Really?
there's
and
still,
Biden's not gonna reinstate it.
there's still a law. That's the law that helps Cuban people to actually get a legal
Residency or
Documents,
documents here, and it's how is it called? La ley de ajuste cubano. It's called
Okay.
ley de ajuste cubano. That means every Cuban that get here after a year and 1 day is able to
apply for
apply
residency.
for a residence. So
Okay.
that law is still
So it's kind of like
in the
if you
system.
can get into the country and be here for a year, we'll then let you.
They let you
Okay.
be a resident.
It's kind of like the wet foot,
and
dry
after
foot,
5
but only
years,
after a
you
year.
can get
You
You
after
can hide
50%.
from us for a year
Yeah,
and you can stay.
you gotta duck us for a year, and if you can
Uh-huh.
prove to duck us for a year,
I mean, you
we'll
go to
let you.
Hialeah, bro. You go to Hialeah, game over. You know,
Yeah.
a year is nothing. It's like 1 day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's like that, but it's literally a year in 1 day.
Yeah.
That's what the law says.
Got you.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So, but then again, if you come back, you know, obviously.
I
So-
mean, I didn't say how I came here.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
right. I was gonna let you finish. And I was like, wait,
Yeah, well-
you didn't say.
It was like this. Like my grandparents were Spain people,
bisas-
like from
tu-
Spain.
Spain, okay.
Your
Spanish people.
bisabuelos.
Yeah, Spanish.
Your
people.
bisabuelo.
My bisabuelos.
His great grandfather
Exactly.
and great parent.
My
great
Spaniards.
great
yeah.
great grandmother and great grandfather.
Latin. Yeah.
Eso
that's
mismo.
So yeah, they were from Spain. So my mom was able to get on Spain
Passport.
citizen,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
you know, and that passed to me because I was
Child.
underage.
Underage.
Under 18. Okay.
Yeah, and that passed to me, and those. So Spain have like this visa, like
Este.
yeah,
Este visa.
Este visa, something like that. That Spanish people can come here for 3 months.
3 months, and then you leave, and you can come back again for 3
Again
months.
for 3 more months. Yeah. So we did that, and at certain point we just stay here, wait the 1 year, 1 day, and we all made
The residency and all that
residency,
stuff. That's good. So basically, you had to go from Cuba to Spain first, right?
Mhm.
Or you came from
I
Cuba
never
to,
been in Spain before.
You never been to Spain?
And I'm an Spain citizen. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I
okay.
thought you had to go
So,
to Spain.
So
and
basically,
then
they
come
came
here.
in with the Spaniard documents.
Mhm.
They were you can because with Este, what Este is basically it's no visa.
So,
so
it is
they-
almost just as easy as like someone from over here.
Yeah, but that's
Right?
why
Well,
I
not
say
really,
it's
because they
probably
had
the
to-
easiest way.
Yeah.
I
They had
just-
to hop hoops. Just think about it. Because
Yeah, because they have to
with
go
that-
through a different country, right?
Well,
in a
no,
certain
with
way.
that Spanish passport, when they come in, they have 3 months to stay in the
Yeah.
United States. You don't need a visa for 3 months. As a
Yeah.
tourist, you don't need a visa for 3 months. Let's say you decide to go to Dominican Republic for a week, and then you come back, re-enter United States.
have 3 more
another
months.
3 months.
Yeah.
So in a year, you can do 6 months in United States, no problem, right? 6 months and a day.
Okay.
Consider that.
Yeah, after that you
Right?
can be in trouble.
But then the problem, yes, then you can get in trouble. But the problem was they had to use their Spanish passport to do that, and then they had to use their Cuban one to stay
to
for
go
the
back
1 year.
because
Yes.
Cuban only accept you back if you show your Cuban passport.
Yes. But because they're Cuban, they had to use their Cuban nationality to claim that 1 year, 1 day law.
Exactly.
They couldn't
Have
deal
nothing
with
to
the
do
Spanish
Spain
anymore.
thing, yeah.
Which in this scenario, that's a very rare case. Are there
So-
people that do that? Yes, but majority
La
can't.
manera que tú llegaste, the way that you got here was through the Spaniard, but you're
Yes.
establishing your residency was because you're Cuban.
Cuban,
Because
yes.
I'm Cuban.
Yes. See what I mean? So they had to, and they were lucky. If Spain said, okay, now you have to get rid of your Cuban residency to get Spanish residency, and if they get rid of the Cuban residency, game over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
now they don't have that 1 year.
yeah,
They would
I
have to
didn't
look
have
doing-
get
they would have
rid
to
of
look-
That was the good
Cuban-
thing.
They would have to look to doing it as a Spaniard straight up.
Correct, which you would not be able to do because it doesn't matter. Because Spain, I mean, you only have the right to come here, visit as a tourist, but you cannot stay. It's the same laws apply as anyone else. Either get married or you're running away from something, asylum or things like that, right?
Yeah.
So that's how that works. So
Yeah, I mean it's just a different way to get here.
yeah, yeah,
There's a bunch of ways.
yeah.
For sure.
And people do it, you know. But the whole point of this, I want to say is like, you know, United States. Everybody considers even if you talk to somebody else outside of United States, they're all dreaming about coming to United States, and yet we live in United States in this dream of other people, and we complain about things that are happening. Now, I'm not saying that things that are happening shouldn't be fixed. They should be fixed. Make the place a better place. But at the same time, let's not pour dog shit on a country and say that this country is complete garbage. You know what I mean? This is what I get upset about, you know, because people usually that talk shit about United States, they never say anything that's nice about United States. You know what I mean? If the United States was nice, if the United States was Cuba, if the United States was Armenia, if the United States was fucking any other country, Thailand or Cambodia, Vietnam, nobody would want to come here, you know? But then there's also the veil of like, you know, money grows on the trees. Like a lot of people don't understand how this works, you know? So there's
We
that.
talked about that the other day.
The
like,
imaginary bootstraps.
Yeah.
yeah, we talked about that the other day. That yeah.
Well, they're not imaginary. You have bootstraps.
Let's go into that. Let's go into that. So that's a good point though. Like because a lot of people will be like, well, you just take advantage of this or that, and it's like, well, it's not as an easy accomplishable goal for a lot of people when they're in those down positions. You know what I mean? Like in the worst of the worst, being minority and broke and crime-ridden areas and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to think about it. So the entire country cannot live well. It just can't. You're gonna have your minority, and then you're gonna have the other minority on the other side that's making money, right? Like to be in the top percent of the
But
United States, that
there's
means
a-
9 people have to be below you.
there's an abuse to it. You know what I mean?
Well, the abuse is on all the levels.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm listening to this book right now, and it's talking about the corruption levels in the United States, right? It's from this investigative journalist. I mean, this shit goes all the way down to fucking before World War I and 1800s. right? Like the way the
Cuba?
things were
Question
working.
What is something you miss from Cuba? Oh, that's something, a question? Something you
Anyway,
miss from Cuba.
so yeah, go ahead. That
What-
doesn't matter. That's my
that's a
rant.
question Mickey just gave us right there. He
No,
wanted to,
that's actually a
what
lot
is
of things I
something you
miss
miss?
from
What is the
Cuba.
number one thing?
Lechon.
To be honest with you guys, this thing that I miss a lot from Cuba is this peace that you feel when you're in Cuba, because there's no drugs,
Yeah.
no weapons, no nothing like that. So
The safety, security.
yeah, I mean, when you have kids and you have people in your family that's a lot smaller than you, like a lot younger than you start thinking this way, like, oh, maybe this country is not that good for young people. Because the other day I get to a park with Marcos. We was just chilling around the park, talking and walking, and we saw this couple white guys doing a couple crazy, intense drugs that I say, bro, I never would imagine guys with this age doing things like this. I didn't see that in Cuba. There's a kind of peace in Cuba that you cannot find it everywhere.
You know,
and that's something that I miss a lot, because I'm thinking of my kids, my brother, my young family.
yeah.
And to be honest, that's something I really miss from Cuba.
That's big. That's
But
something that
every
means
time,
a
you know,
lot.
what you got to think about it. What sells? Like money, guns, drugs, and sex, right? That's the three things that sell. Guns, drugs,
I know what the
and
question
sex.
is. Don't worry.
So if the country has money, what
I
are you
saw
gonna
it
have? You're gonna have all
go
three
past
things, you know.
quickly.
So
Yeah, I mean,
it's just part of the deal. Like anytime country becomes better, anytime
That's good
country starts
questions, Mickey.
making
Thank
money,
you.
drugs are coming in, sex is coming in, and guns are coming in
Yeah,
because
of
they can
course.
extract it. So people know what they're gonna go to Cuba for. Were they gonna trade him with the half dead chicken? You know what I mean? Like what are they gonna trade him for the drugs with? Right? So it's a market that they're not interested. Now they can run the drugs through Cuba. You know, they pay a little bit of money. They run the drugs to Cuba. Okay, those makeshift submarines and everything like that. You know, Cuban
Fridges
people
and
are
motors.
good at it. I mean, like right now, U.S. Coast Guard is chasing literally submarines that are made in Cuba. They make the submarines with fiberglass and everything, and they can go under the water and transport drugs like that. You know, so that's what they're going to Cuba for.
I've seen that a lot of those raids, like in the Caribbean,
Yeah.
where they like literally find these makeshift submarines. I know exactly.
yeah,
what you're talking
there's this big theory about the business that Pablo Escobar has with the Castro's brothers.
about. Yeah,
So yeah, they basically, as what I know, the Cuban government just the work they had to do to that drug business was just let Pablo Escobar use the territory of Cuba to move that drug from Colombia to Florida. So they basically, I'm gonna say in Spanish this part.
yeah.
So, básicamente la teoría dice que
Basically, the theory says
Pablo Escobar enviaba lanchas con
would-
droga,
he would send
cocaína.
he would send drugs. Pablo Escobar would send
Entonces
drugs.
usaban territorio marítimo cubano
They would use territory in Cuba
Maritime territory.
custodiado por dos aviones militares cubanos.
with two Cuban military planes watching over.
Yeah, para que hiciera ese tramo entre Colombia a la Florida.
So to help go from Colombia to Florida.
Yeah, and that was a thing, but that is a good thing because the drugs did touch Cuba, but it never left the boats. It was strictly for
I
transportation.
mean, sometimes
To help move,
this is very interesting because because the little town I used to live in Cuba is it's like St. Pete, so the beach, the sea is right there. So sometimes those boats
See?
I don't know why they lose some packages of cocaine, and those packages
Will come to the beach.
they come to the beach and people find it. I know people that get in jail because they find a big package of cocaine and they start selling it and using it. And they get in jail. Yeah, that's crazy. So that's how you see that everything I'm saying. That theory is not a lie. I saw those things with my eyes, bro.
Yeah,
it's crazy, man. People all the time found those packages by the beach and all that. And the government, you know what the government say by that time? That's United States trying to put drugs in Cuba to unstabilize the society and crazy things like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it was done because if you think about it, it makes total sense. Even if Castro brothers or whatever, they want to make money. They know they fucking not gonna make shit in their country. They done already robbed everything possible. There's no more money left there, right? So to take, so they had to find other means of earning money. So they're dealing with Pablo Escobar. It's the same shit that's happening right now in the United States. I'm not talking about the drugs, but it's the same. Washing my hand, wash my back, and I wash yours. I need to get something done. I'm taking money from you. This building goes up here.
Or I have this video of you, and so you're gonna do this.
That was a big thing. That was a big thing. Like that blackmail, extortion, blackmail, bro. Like a good majority of people back in the day were gay, and they would have sex with these altar boys and things like that.
The shit you see in the movies, right? Like when they catch CEOs fucking some male prostitute, and they come in like, "Pink, all right, you're gonna go and you're gonna do this, and you're gonna go do that, or else." This is on CNN tomorrow.
That's how a lot of people got to be where they are, and their families are right now where they are, is because the grandpa's grandpa used to fucking call everybody to their house for a party and then drag in a bunch of male prostitutes, young male prostitutes, get them to different rooms, and then they had cameras everywhere to spy, take pictures and videos, and then later when time came, hey, I need this done. No, we're not. Mirelo.
Arthur,
okay.
I don't see what you're talking about. I don't see that for some reason weird. What are you talking about, brother?
I think he was talking about Miguel's question.
Oh, Miguel's question. That's funny because that's exactly what I was going to go to after I was done figuring out what Arthur wanted. So, Miguel's question was, did you serve in the military there?
Yeah.
So, right? That's a mandatory thing when you hit a certain age, right?
Completely mandatory. There's nothing you can do with that.
Yeah, what age you have to go?
18 years
18.
Yeah.
So
once you turn 18, you're ready to get in the military. Yeah.
How long do you have to serve?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
So I've talked to some guy. It's funny because I was thinking of this. At one of Emily's family friends, and he was talking to me about when he was there. He he had injured himself on purpose to be able to take leave.
Yeah, I saw people getting crazy. Like, oh, now I have these mental problems.
Yeah. So he told me
do anything to get out.
He told me he tried. What was it? He tried doing with his hand.
He fucking smashed his hand.
No, he burned his hand first. He tried. He se rayó el brazo y la espalda un poquito. He took something. Fuck, what was it? He told me he took something to his arm and to his back to say he fell off the motorcycle. Yeah. And that he couldn't serve. Ready? But this wasn't it. They told him, nah, that's not enough. Bullshit. You're bullshitting. So he said, oh, okay. And so he got in, and he was in there. He told one of his friends that was in the military service with him, and he took something that he said was not a 2x4, like a 4x4. And he gave it to his friend. He put his foot on the table and was like, hit it. And he said his friend had to hit it twice. Because on the first one, it didn't break. It was fine. It still just hurt. And then on the second one, it broke.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of crazy story about that. I mean, yeah, bro, it's hard. 2 years?
Because
what is it like? Like, walk me through the day they tell you, like.
Let's get to that part.
Okay, so tell me the day they told you, hey, it's your time.
All right.
What was your feeling like? What was that like? Like, shit. Or you knew, because it's 18.
Everybody say shit when you get that notification. Trust me.
But is it a notification, or do you just know because you're 18?
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
But then you get the notification.
Sure.
I've been dunking bullets all this time, maybe.
But then the notification comes.
There's this guy that goes to your house, knock on your door, and tell you, are you ready for this? And you say, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, it doesn't matter. Sign here.
Why you asking me that, bitch?
Bro, you have no options. You
Yeah,
have
but
to
why
do-
do you ask you?
To fuck with you.
To fuck with you? Yeah, we don't care.
You can get in jail if you say no.
Yeah.
It's just like that.
Oh,
Oh, no,
okay.
you're not going to pass it up, right? That's good.
Yeah.
2
2
years
years
in
in
the
jail.
prison. That way you can
So,
pay for
so,
that.
so that's the option. 2 years in prison or 2 years in the military?
2 years in the military. But if you say no, you can get 2 years in prison to pay for
That's
the
it,
no
yeah,
you
yeah,
say.
Yeah.
To make up for the 2 years
Yeah,
of not being in the
because
military.
this is the thing. They don't have enough money to pay normal people to be military people.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have money for that.
Yeah.
So they need you to maintain
The army.
all those, the army, basically
then-
the entire army without pay you. They don't have to pay you. They pay you 35 Cuban pesos a month. That's nothing. A
35
pack of
Cu-
cigarettes.
35 Cuban pesos a
Yeah.
month?
Yeah.
And this
to
comes
be
with
in the
no
military.
food, no water, no accommodation,
That's-
nothing.
That's the other part. The food.
What? They
is-
don't provide food or where you to
They
sleep?
do.
Nothing?
They do. But
Minimum,
It's-
like
yeah.
casi nada.
más que casi nada.
Almost nothing. And he's saying more than almost nothing.
Yeah, it's a little bit of rice and egg, and maybe one day some beans on top.
Beans? I thought you were going to say meat. No,
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 meat.
meat.
Yeah,
Meat. ¿Cómo que
I
meat?
don't know,
Shit.
yeah, sometimes you can eat meat.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
They get
sometimes.
the
And
día
then
Thanksgiving.
special occasions.
Special occasion.
Yeah. And yeah, you basically get into it. You have 45 days of this training, like
Basic
actual
training.
to be a military person.
So right, like Jessica asked in the chat, how does the military work in Cuba, and what do you have to do as a young 18-year-old, and what is there to do as a young 18-year-old? What was that first week like? Like when you got there, the first day, like ¿Cómo es que te buscan? How are you transported?
Well, you know they got no bullets, so they gotta be doing push-ups and crunches all day long. You know what I mean?
They do.
Fire.
Once you're in the army, you have weapons and
Yeah.
all kind of this stuff. But yeah, I mean, this guy that I'm telling you, basically, knocking the
you
door,
see the
sign
Kalashnik-
here. You're ready in.
You see the Kalashnikov AK a lot, right? Because of the contribution from Russia, right?
I had an AK with 3 more magazines on it,
At all
like
time?
a belt
Yeah.
right here with 30 bullets
Per-
every per.
And were you guys shooting the 7.62 or the 5.45? So 6.72 or the
es-
5.45?
Es 7.62.
7.62. 7.62.
Yeah.
The big
7.62
fucking
millimeters.
shit.
Yeah, like this.
Yeah.
Big fucking bullet.
And
Yeah.
yeah. So I had that thing on top of me for 2 years
Yeah.
because you have to do like a la, déjame decirlo en español, un servicio de guardia.
A service of being a guard.
Yeah. So
You just- yeah.
básicamente tú
Service
estás
being a guard.
custodiando almacenes como really big storage with a lot of things inside, like bullets,
Oh, so like a
whatever.
guard.
even
guard.
not even a helicopter inside that building.
Okay.
So you have to custody all that for 2 years.
And who maintain all this? Where the money coming from to make?
We.
No, I know, but who's paying for the bullets? Who's paying for the?
They're not paying for nothing like
But
that.
where they getting
they
bullets?
just have it because Russia lived there when they had all these.
So there's so much that Russia left there that you still have more.
No,
Yeah,
no.
I mean that. It's a lot. It's actually a lot of
Later,
You know,
yeah. Thank you.
yeah.
So Russia left
go-
bunch of military shit, and you still have to practice and shoot and stuff. But who bring more? Or there's
Nobody
no
brings
more.
more.
There's just
No,
enough.
it's
just-
They
it's
just have a
so
basically
much.
the same thing
Exactly.
they have since
Man, I'm
6
surprised-
years ago.
When
I'm
Russia
surprised
left,
they
they
haven't
left
fucking
everything.
sold this shit to get money out of it. Let's say make contacts with I don't know with
To be honest with you,
Arabs.
I don't think that half of these things still work. Half of these things are.
I mean,
broken.
ammo
Those
goes.
very.
Well, the Kalashnikov AKs, those shits are something different.
For sure.
Yeah, they're
When it
different.
comes to
That
ammo,
thing is.
But the
Yeah, but the
ammo,
bullets-
on the other hand, yeah.
tanks,
All that stuff,
motorcycles.
yeah.
But yeah,
rations that
basically
you have, everything, all that stuff goes bad.
you get this 45 days of training, and after that they give you a position in a military base, and yeah, you pass those 2 years.
¿Cuál es el proceso de llegar? Como que, like, when how they process you, like, and get you to where you're sitting.
They get you in.
They shave your head?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, yeah.
The first day.
Yeah.
They took
the movies.
all your hair.
Yeah.
Uh,
They cut.
and
they give you a physical.
this,
They check you out, right? They do a physical. They, like, te chequean el,
Yeah,
like,
of
el
course,
cuerpo, like a health check,
they
supuestamente.
They didn't do it to me, but I hear something
Yeah.
about that. Also, they even put the finger in your hole, you know.
But they never
Tell
did
you to
nothing
cough?
to you?
No, they didn't.
No.
They didn't do it to me.
Oh, you
No.
got lucky.
Not me, but not even all the guys.
Yeah.
that
I mean,
was
they're
there
probably
at that
thinking,
time.
like, this guy's 18, he walks, he good. Like, that's
What if
literally.
he walks like
Yeah,
this?
They don't
They
care.
check. That's what they check.
As long as you're not, I mean, I imagine as long as you're not shaking and you're 18 and walking around, you're good.
Yeah, you're very good.
Very good, right?
But for 2 years, same position.
No, you can be in different positions once you be in that base, in that military base. So what I did was, after I get these 45 training days, I passed like a course, like truck driver course. So I was supposed to drive a truck for those 2 years, but that didn't happen.
Cause truck wasn't working.
No, basically the base that I was, the truck driver was an old guy, not a young guy like me. So they had their own drivers, so they didn't need me at all
Yeah.
to drive a truck. So I just did whatever
So
the other guys did.
So we
You
got
know?
a question. They're asking, tell more about when you met these people in the army and how that affected your life, how it changed. Like, I'm gonna assume that you grew up really quickly. You, from an 18-year-old kid, you become a grown-up right away.
For sure. I mean, you're an 18-year-old guy, and they put you with 40 something, 40 more guys the same age.
Did you have to earn your place? Because I know in Russian army is like that. The young guys, when they come in,
Oh,
it's always
man.
like a
That is crazy. They
beat the shit out of you, yeah, bully you.
but like crazy. Like, bro, I still have, 2 more weeks to be here, or 3 months to be here, and you just starting this.
Yeah.
So I'm better than you. I'm the boss here.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
all these things happens in there. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, because
And-
they have that, they call it in Russia, they call it the uncles, right? Like they call it pretty much like the uncles. Like they're the uncles and they fuck you up.
Yeah,
They're
there's
like,
something
you
like
gotta,
that in Cuba. I'm
you're
gonna say it in
earning
Spanish
money,
because-
you're earning the 35 pesos that he's talking about. Now you can buy a pack of cigarettes. He's gonna send you to buy the pack of cigarettes, or you don't have money. He's like, hey, I need cigarettes. It's your job to figure out how to get the fucking
Yeah.
cigarettes.
So, básicamente es como él dijo que le dice, oh, your uncle, bla, bla,
Basically, how he said, call your uncle.
básicamente ellos dicen lo mismo, es como,
They say the same
oh,
thing.
yo soy un viejo.
I'm the old guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yo soy de
viejo.
los viejos.
The olders, yeah.
Sí.
The elders.
Yo soy la vejez. Te dicen, yo soy la vejez aquí. Sí. Y tú acabas de entrar, so, básicamente te ponen el dedo arriba.
Yeah, they put your finger on top of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's normal, because we used to. I know a chat came in. I don't know who it was Giselle. Giselle said, "Oh, they
That's
don't,
a good one. Yeah.
yeah, they don't let you leave for seeing the childbirth and things like that." But that's majority. Half of the world is like that. It's not just we're used to United States where you have a kid's birthday, they let you go, because here is elective, right? To go to military is elective and you get paid. So they have all these amenities for you to join. Over there, they don't give a fuck. You have to go, and they don't need to give you nothing. So in a lot of the other parts of the world is the same thing.
Flat, so it doesn't leak out.
Yeah, so it's the same thing. They don't let you go. They don't let you, like, once you're in the army, you're in the army 2 years. That's it. That's your life. That's your family. This is the people that you know. That's it. You don't see anybody else.
Yeah.
So ellos no te dejan ir para tu casa
No, no,
para
no, no.
absolutamente
For
nada
nothing,
por
for
esos
nothing,
2
bro.
años.
That's
Oh,
normal.
¿Cómo va eso?
21 días más. That system I had for the time you pass at home and all that, era 21 días en la unidad militar y 7 días en tu casa. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So you were 21
3
days
weeks.
there, 7 days home.
Oh
You
shit!
were
So you
constantly-
actually got days off
Yeah.
because
yeah,
where I lived, you got no days off. It
But I
was,
mean,
you're in the military, you're in the military, and then
you can
sometimes
lose
they
those
send you somewhere else.
7 days.
Very
you can lose
easily.
those 7 days very easy. Yeah.
Yeah, you
By
step out of line
Anything
a
you
little
do
bit.
wrong,
they'll
you
just
work,
take
you're
them away.
losing days.
Yeah,
Like 2 days less, 1 day less. Then you
Because
literally
the
take
way
it like that.
Russia did that,
You
the-
have 1 less.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just like that.
yeah, the way Russia did that. So let's say you're let's say in Armenia and you become part of the military because you had to go to military. It was mandatory the same way. They send you to the fucking other side of the Russia. That's like 4,000 or 5,000 kilometers away.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you have no choice. You can't see your family. Your family can't come here. You
No,
can't go there.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. The place that I estuve ahí, yeah,
Where he was.
en el lugar que yo estaba era básicamente a unas 100 millas de mi casa. So
The place he was almost 100 miles from his house.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you know
That he
there's
was
no
stationed.
gas, no good
¿Cómo tú
transportation,
llegabas a
no
tu
roads.
casa? How would he get there? is what I
you
asked,
get
sorry.
to the literally like every single Cuban move inside the island. Yeah. So you get to the road and you start make signs to
Yes, for
a
a
truck
hitchhiker,
or
somebody to
something
pick you
that
up.
that's
Yeah.
passing by you. Hey,
You
Hitchhike.
hitchhike, right?
Yeah.
That's
How
what it's
long
called?
would that take? How long that trip would take?
I mean, you probably have to do like 3 to 4 stops. Oh, this truck moved you to 20 miles over there and leave you there, and you have to take
Yeah.
another whatever
And
path.
every 21 day you do the same shit.
Yeah, you do the
every-
same. It basically take you a day to get home.
So
So
you know, we were talking about the cars, like old cars and stuff earlier.
Uh-huh.
What are the kind of people that have cars?
uh,
What is it to be at that level of having a
Yeah,
car?
cars are very
well,
big
you
to
have
love
Well, you
a
gotta be
car.
part of Fast
if
and
your
Furious for that one.
grandpa had a car,
Family.
Family.
yeah.
Yeah.
If your grandpa had a car,
So there
your
is
dad had a car,
cars
and
in
you
the
now
family.
there is
have a car.
there is no such thing as buying a car.
Yeah,
There
I
is-
mean, if you have enough money to buy a car, but
Super expensive.
this kind of car that we're talking about, an old Chevy, 55 Chevy, they ask you $50K. Easy, 50 American dollars.
American dollars,
American dollars,
50,000 American dollars
Yeah, man. Yeah,
for these
So who's
things
gonna
that
buy
are
it?
just patched together.
yeah.
I mean, that's from what I've heard.
Yeah.
Nothing original in those
You know-
things. Nothing. Not
You
a
know how
single
One
much
original
Cuban
part of
peso
those
is
know
cars.
what is
equal
a
to
Peugeot?
4 cents.
Peugeot.
Peugeot,
Uh-huh.
that brand, not even a brand new Peugeot. 2011, 2012 Peugeot. They have like this government dealership, and a Peugeot it costs like, I don't know, 120,000.
So why would you buy a car there? What is it? What is
There's
that?
no way to buy a car.
There's
man.
no reason, right? Like no razón. No,
I
no
mean,
vale la
there's a
pena.
whole bunch of reasons to
But
buy
no
a
vale la
car.
pena.
Everybody needs a car.
nobody
Yeah.
can.
But
No vale
you're
la
for-
pena para nada.
No,
No,
for
doesn't.
sure
It's
you're
just
not
no
gonna
reason.
afford
To, not a
can-
reason. Sorry, like it's not worth it. That's what I'm saying in Spanish.
Yeah.
But
It's
no,
not
it's not.
like in no way is it worth it to buy a car.
No,
So
it's
here's,
not.
here's a
there's a lot of
question.
reasons you need it, but and want it, but not worth it at all.
But if the people don't have money, but
Zero.
they still price the car at 120,000, but somebody must buy the car. That's why they have the car there.
People
Somebody's
with family
buying,
from here.
huh?
People with family
people
from
that
here.
have business here, there's a lot of people in Cuba that have business here
Uh huh.
and they live over there.
Ah, okay.
There's a lot of things like that. And also government people.
Yeah, because that makes sense. If you have a good business and you're making good, decent money here, you live over there. Now you're living like a king.
Bro, if
You would live here average, but over
having
there
a
you're
car
living
in
like a king.
Cuba is like having a private jet here. So once you have a car, oh man, you're in another level.
Yeah.
But crazy other level.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. You're in a position that
What is?
99% of the Cuban people don't be.
What?
for
What
sure.
is the presence of religion in Cuba?
It can be any.
I mean, this religions in Cuba take a really good.
Yeah.
Say what I said?
Si
Say
hay
gas-
gasolina,
gasolina.
there's gas to get for your car.
There's gas. Yeah, right
Buying
now
gas
there's
for your
no
car, what's
gas.
Before we move
I
on to
mean-
religion.
right now, there's no gas
Yeah.
for nobody. I mean, for government people, like normal, And for tourists, for the tourism, they give you, for example, if you go to Cuba right now and you rent a car, you can buy 10 gallons of gas on each gas station that you go. Like, it's not that you're gonna fill the tank up. No. They give you 10 gallons. And then if you get to another
they do it in gallons. No, they don't have it in
They have it in
liters. Liter, right?
40 liters.
Yeah, it's liters.
40 liters.
Yeah.
So can I, buy the 10 gallons, go to the, hey, I'm selling.
10 more. I need 10 more.
Yeah, I need 10 more. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. You can
So-
always slide something under the table and they'll
La
try to hook you up.
religion, religion. So is it all mostly like Christian religions there, or you have
Yeah,
the
man.
presence of other religions as well?
In Cuba, the religions have a big important part
Impact
and
on everything.
impact in the society. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's all these African religions, because all these African slaves that they
was it?
were-
I think it was. I think
Yeah,
it was.
Spain peop-
Santeria?
Yeah, because
Yeah, I think it was you that tell me, right, that like in Cuba, like there's almost no racism because there's so many African Americans. Was it you?
yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
African
Probably.
Cubans, they're not American.
Yeah.
Sorry, African
It's
Cubans.
crazy
Sorry, right?
to say. It's crazy to say because it's crazy to believe, because everybody think that racism is everywhere, no matter what. But I can say that I never saw racism.
But when I'm not.
But there is that
I'm-
Mary
I'm-
White,
I-
right? You
I-
have that, like,
I was
you
gonna
want to
say,
marry
right?
somebody that's...
But I'm gonna say, you didn't see that, but you also are a white man.
I mean,
You also are
Stop
Caucasian.
with that bullshit,
I'm sorry,
bro.
but like
Stop with that
you have
bullshit.
to,
Stop
you
with
have
that
to,
bullshit.
you
Bro.
have to put that as a factor.
No.
You
There is this thing. I believe that in a lot of the Spanish countries, there's this thing. They always say Mary White, right? Mary White. They saying, okay, if you're a guy, they want you to marry white.
They want you to not necessarily marry white. They like to. It's a big thing. Like if I'll say for Dominicans, like you see that they have like that old-fashioned presence. I'm not gonna say my mom's like that, but I've seen that they like push for you to stay within
Within
being
your-
like finding a Dominican girl or at least a Hispanic.
No, but then there's
They'll
that.
be more happy with that than you bringing home a white girl or a black girl, whatever it may be, or Asian, anything else. They just much rather. I think it's just to relate in a sense. Like
No, I'm talking about within the country itself. Within the country
itself, you're gonna have that where you're gonna see
That's
them.
what
They
I'm
want to
talking
stick to
about.
the certain skin color, not necessarily
Correct.
white, but if yes, they are a white family or Caucasian family,
They wanna stick to
to
white,
white, and
yes.
if they're black, they're gonna want to stick to black. You see that a lot, but I think that's everywhere. You see that.
yeah, but this is the thing.
I don't think
This
I
is
think
the
in the
thing.
Western world it's not that
Listen to
anymore.
this.
You do.
Listen
you still
to
see
this.
that.
Listen
you still
to
see
this.
that.
For
You
me,
do, but I think it's
for me, as a Cuban person that lived 20 years in Cuba, racism is a very how I say that without sound really bad. It's a very voy a decirlo en español. No desconocido. No es que sea un tema desconocido. El racismo es un tema conocido para todos. Y pasa,
Racism is known for everyone.
por desgracia,
known by
pasa
everyone.
en muchos lugares. Pero
In a lot of places.
racism is a really privileged way of thinking.
Over there. Okay.
Let
I
me
see
tell
what you're
you
saying.
why. Because in Cuba, the black people and the white people, they all have hungry.
Yeah, they're all hungry. They're not worried
They all
about the skin
hungry.
color.
They all in the same
It's kind of like-
exact position. It doesn't matter if you're
I get-
white, if you're black, if you're red.
I get what you're saying.
You having the same troubles, man. Racism is a really privileged
Todo el mundo.
way of thinking.
No,
Let me
like
tell you.
Problem
Yeah.
of privilege.
I get.
Yeah,
I understand
it's
exactly
a
what you're
problem
saying.
of privileged people.
Because it's like if you're gonna say and you're trying to have that mentality over there, it's like what the fuck do you mean? Like we both don't have food, we're both living on
We're the
bullshit.
same.
Like we don't have nothing. What do you mean
Bro.
you're better than me because of that? I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Bro, it's
Everybody's
just like that.
the majority is gonna look at that
Yeah.
mentality as like you're fucking stupid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, which racism, of course, always majority looks at it as you're fucking stupid. But over there, they're just gonna really like laugh at you about it.
Yeah, like-
That is crazy.
Come on, brother. Like, yeah, you having the same exact troubles I'm having right now.
Yeah,
There's
I
no
get it.
way-
I get what you're saying. Now.
I mean, there's not a point to see if you're black and I'm white, and that you don't see those things. You don't see it, man.
there's
It's just
that.
like
The haves and have-nots is not by skin color.
The
basically.
life is so
not-
hard that
I mean-
reality just has to set in. It doesn't matter. That
There's
doesn't
this
matter.
Cuban artist, rap artist that I love this guy, and there's a song that says the like racism. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, racism.
Racism is not about our skin color. It's about the size of our houses.
Makes sense. Yeah, because people that don't have it, they
show
don't have it. They
I
look
mean,
at somebody say you privilege, and
there
people
is
that
black
have it, they say
people
that's bullshit.
that never experience racism because they have a lot of money and a lot of privilege.
Yeah.
So they didn't see it.
I mean,
Just
you
for
can say
talking
that
about,
for
you know-
Cuba, but America was built on racism. It's
Well, no,
deep-seated into all of our policies.
I mean,
And it's
I can
still
understand
on a
that.
rise. White supremacist groups have been on a 50% rise since 2016.
Yeah, well, the point is, I think racism in America is a way of dividing the nation. This is
Oh,
one
yeah.
way of dividing the nation. That's
Everyone
all
uses
is.
it to divide the nation.
Yes.
So we got Jessica joining us, Manuel's lovely fiance, right? You guys are engaged,
Yeah, I
right?
didn't even have to bring my ring. But yeah.
It's all right.
She's like, we're going to Dominicans. They're gonna steal it.
Hey man, I didn't take any of my watches.
Well, you wanted to take the wing,
the wing.
The wing
of
of
the
his
car,
car.
the spoiler.
Oh
For what?
no, yeah, we got Jessica joining us.
Yeah, I
today.
just wanted to come on here because you guys are a little all over the place.
Ah.
And so I just need to say my piece.
All right,
She
go
has her
ahead.
input. She has her
Yeah, I
input.
do.
So your sister in the chat mentioned that there's also a like an Asian presence there in Cuba. I didn't know that. I wasn't. Is there a lot of
Yeah,
Chinos
well,
there,
Asians
you
are
would
big,
call?
bro.
Yeah.
Asians are big in all of the Caribbean. It
I know
wasn't
that
just,
in DR,
it wasn't
Asian
just
people
the
people
Africans
everywhere,
over there.
man.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
But really in Cuba, I didn't expect
Yeah,
that.
well,
Yeah,
they're in
that-
Dominican Republic. They're in
In
Puerto
DR,
Rico.
I
they're-
get that. I get
yeah.
in DR there are a lot there, but
I mean,
you know, Cuba seems to be a little more closed off. It's so much different. It's not like DR or like Puerto Rico.
Well, no,
We
you
were just
gotta
talking about
look at it. When Christopher Columbus came to fucking Americas, what did they do? They brought the slaves of Africa, which there
Yeah.
was 11, I think, million that went to the Caribbean, and about 8 million that went to United States and Canada, right? That's how it was. And then, you know, that went to South America as well. And then, you know, same thing was when they were building the fucking railroads, they brought all the Asians over. That's how it was.
Yeah.
So majority of African slaves went to the Caribbean. At that time, the Russia didn't exist, so Cuba was part of that.
Yeah, that's why in Cuba we have all these really strong African religions, because half of
It's-
Cuban society
like that in
is
DR
black
too.
people, is
Yeah.
African.
Spanish people that
people.
came with their African slaves.
Yeah.
So that's like the root. The beginning
Yeah.
of everything is Spanish people and African people.
And
There's-
That
African
started
there's
in
not-
us.
there's not
Cuba,
many-
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Spanish
not many
people and African
indigenous
people,
Caribbean
killed
people.
all of them.
Like,
Yeah.
They killed
They-
all of them, bro.
Yeah.
They
all of
killed
it.
all of
The
because
that were there.
because
Cuban-
when they came in,
and
what
the
did
Dominicans, Puerto
Yeah.
Rico, all of that.
Yeah.
well, they came in with fucking mirrors, showed them the mirrors, and took all the gold away. And then they're like, "Well, fuck, wait a minute, you give me a fucking mirror and gold." They try to fucking spear them, and they're like, "No, we got guns." You know.
They
So
also
that's a-
came in with diseases.
I was about to say
that
disease,
these
too.
tribes have
They
never
probably-
seen either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They killed a
I think the
lot of them
disease was
initially. Just by
the
that.
biggest
Yeah.
cause for
Yeah.
the.
Do you still have the original? Do you still have some roots of original Cuban people in Cuba? Like, you know, in Mexico, you have like.
In Puerto Rico, you see it too. Like we went to a spot when we were there last November. I forgot what it's called, but they were like
Taíno. Está en Puerto Rico.
that too, and in DR too. We actually figured out Ozzy was has roots
There's
from there.
Taínos in Cuba too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and but yeah, like you still have that root there, right? Like in certain spots, but it's really flushed out in the majority, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
like we're
they
talking
disappear all the culture and all
yes,
that.
the culture especially,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, because they were interested and just leave the Catholic religion and all these Christian
Christian.
religions. So, yeah, they were a lot into.
But I find it weird. You can be Puerto Rican or Cuban and have white complexions. They're like, okay, but the moment I say I'm Dominican, like, oh, but you don't look Dominican. It's like,
You actually do.
I mean, I look
Dominican,
Hispanic,
yeah.
but a lot of people say I don't look Dominican.
Well, you're looking at two people that have blonde hair.
Right,
Yeah, bro.
However,
I mean, and you look at, for example, my girlfriend's family, they all look Russian.
Well, there's that.
Like her mom's side, they all look
Yeah,
Russian.
there's that
They look
Spaniard
really
blood, and then after that,
Exactly.
there's
Yeah.
the Spaniard blood,
Her
and
mo- her
after that
family's
is the Russian blood.
Pretty
that
like
came
clear
through.
mix of that. Her dad is very like Spaniard,
Blonde, blue
Latino
eyes,
root, and then her mom is like her mom's side. They just look like they're from Russia.
Yeah. No, that's part of that's just part of the Russian
Yeah.
influence. They're part of the Spanish influence,
Yes.
and they're
Yeah.
part of
Yes.
the Russian influence.
Yes, but
So-
like I was saying, like I find that always so weird. Me being a Dominican, like, oh, I'm Dominican. Oh, you don't look Dominican. I've heard that so many times.
'Cause,
In my
I
life.
mean,
Do you guys ever hear that? You
I
don't
get
look
that
Cuban.
all the
Really?
time.
all the time.
Really? All
the
Everywhere
time.
I go.
Okay.
Everywhere.
But
They
what
say,
is
you don't look Cuban?
To me,
But what is
You
the
look white.
But what is the distinction? Because you look white. That's
No,
it.
because
See,
they're
Yeah,
European.
I mean, what do you
look
think
good.
I got
Right.
made in Cuba in the middle of my neck?
you see, that's the thing. Like,
It's like, look, motherfucker.
and just like in,
No,
like
it's-
in Cuba,
there's
it's
nothing
just
wrong
a
to be
mixture, a
American.
mixture of
I
everything.
mean, it's pretty nice
Because they
if you
have the
think
same
about it.
Spanish people. So there's people that are gonna look more Spanish.
Yeah.
Then there's the African people that came.
Yeah,
so
when
you
you
get,
say I'm Cuban, they are
there
trying
are
to
people
see
that are mixed
So
and they look
this
like different colors.
classic
I'm-
Mexican look.
Yeah,
looking guy.
my family is like a quarter of that, right? Like, so my
Well, you are a
dad.
quarter. You're
Yeah,
me
me
mom is
myself.
technically
My
half.
family, no, yeah, my family's half, right? You split it. Like, so my mom, my dad's side of the family clearly came from Spain. Like,
Yeah,
my
they're
last
Spaniards.
name is an old Spanish name. You can look it up, and
Garcia.
I have a Asensio. You can
You
find
want
a.
more
You can find a
Spain name than
Spanish
Garcia?
clan
Yeah,
emblem
same.
from like
See?
back from Spaniard, yeah, being a Spaniard name, and then you go on my mom's side and Ferreira. Like, okay, it kind of sounds a little,
Yeah.
you know, was just looking for the word like juju, like
Yeah.
and then my dad
Made up. Sounds made up.
yeah, right. Came from something way more complicated from Africa, and they were like, all right, let's simplify this shit. Probably because look at my grandpa, right, where that name came from, and we call him my abuelo negro, like negrito, right, like that's where my mixed side comes from. My
Bro,
black,
but
my,
that
black
say
genes.
that what you say says a lot about Latin people and all this
Yeah, we'll get into that.
racism thing, because my best friend is a black guy, all right, and I call him negrito, mi negro. Mi negro, like, I mean, if I tell somebody in the United States,
Yeah.
my
Kevin's sister.
black, you my
Shady.
black
La
guy,
negra, they call her la
like I
negra.
own you. Oh, I'm fuck.
Yeah, it's
And
not like that.
My best friend is black, and I literally call him negrito, mi negro, mi negro. And
Yeah,
there's
yeah, that's
nothing
normal.
wrong with that.
They-
like,
Because es una cosa de cariño. It's like with
Yeah,
cuddles, like I was
bro.
trying to say. I don't know how to say it with
Yeah.
cariño in English.
With love.
With
with
love,
care.
I guess,
Yeah,
with
it's a
care,
lovely
like with.
way to
But I
call
think the
your
best
friend,
way,
yeah.
like, because the way we use it with cariño is like the best way to translate that was with cuddles.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the best way to like translate it because that's how you mean it. It's like with
There's a
love,
word I can't
care,
think
all
of
that.
Yeah, I mean-
right? I don't know.
most of my Cuban friends.
That's the best
are-
thing I've
are
thought of
black
with cuddles.
guys.
I've always
Yeah.
said it like that.
Yeah, and it's crazy, when you come here and you say something and they're like, "Well, you're a racist." Well, wait a minute, hold on a minute. How do you figure I'm a racist?
It
Because
is-
I used a certain word where like words actually start taking.
So it's kind of
presence.
just like we talked about this one of our first pods, right? It was a big topic, cultural appropriation, right? So like for example, if I feel like on Halloween dressing up like a ninja or a samurai, I'm now messed up towards Japanese culture and Chinese culture. No,
you're
like
down.
right?
Nah.
And then some people view it like that, or like we saw that video. I think we showed it that day on the pod. Like
The guy that goes to Mexico.
no,
Yeah,
he
the
goes to
mercado.
to the market and he's dressed as like a mariachi, and they all like, yeah, we love it, like we don't care, you look great. And then he went to like a college with all like these white and black kids, and they were telling him, oh, you shouldn't,
discriminating.
yeah, you
Mexican
shouldn't be wearing
people.
that. You're not
Yeah.
educated. That's not your culture. And he did the same thing with Asians. He was wearing like a
Yeah, man, we
a
don't
hat.
really care
As
about
far
it.
as the cultural
Like,
appropriation goes, I
Asian
think you
style
need to
robe.
ask the culture that supposedly is being appropriated. And if they're against it, I say that's cultural appropriation. If they don't give a shit, then
There
what
you
the
go.
fuck is...
You wanna hear
What the fuck?
something
What do you
funny?
know?
You want to
know
hear
what I mean?
something funny? People that say that about the Mexican like clothes that this guy was wearing,
like a mariachi.
the same people that say that is the same people that tell you that clothes don't have a gender. That you can wear whatever you want and it doesn't matter, even if you're a man, a woman. That same people tell you that you cannot dress like a Mexican because you're not in that culture. But you're not saying that the clothes have nothing to do with my gender or with my culture.
You're right.
It's the same people. Yeah.
Well, there's a pick and choose, right? Like everybody
There-
always
yeah, that's
has
what
a
he's
fucking
saying.
excuse to say why is this correct or why is this
That's what he's
incorrect.
saying. They're trying to pick and choose, right? Like the same people that are trying to tell you you can wear a dress if you're a man, which is absolutely right. Wear a dress if you're a man,
But
right?
you can't wear a
But
mariachi outfit.
You can't wear the mariachi outfit,
Nah, because-
right?
What if
That's
I was a woman?
Now, I
what if I
underst-
was a white woman and then put on male mariachi clothes? Would that be considered? Would
be
that be
like
considered
Probably for them.
appropriation, or would
I-
that be considered okay because I'm identifying?
I think
as a
only
Mexican
other.
man?
I think ready. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think only other white women would probably go after you.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Just like you said off the top, it's a privilege problem, bro. All this shit is a privilege because we have nothing fucking else to worry about, so we're worrying about this.
but not necessarily when the racism plays a role in actually how you're treated in like your day to day life.
I
and-
understand.
Yeah, that's a different.
That's a clear,
That's whole different
that's
story.
a clear violation. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's a clear violation
You know what I mean?
of human
Like,
rights, right?
Obviously, that's a violation, but I don't think it exists in a quantity that everybody's saying it does. I do think that there is a minority of people that are like that, but it's not the majority. But the way we're making it
Man,
sound like if I say something,
We
I
just have
have
to
white
put it like
privilege.
this. Ready? We have to put it like this. Most people are not Alex that looks at shit and figures out the exact facts, both sides, and figures it out. Because I don't do that. I go to Alex. I go to Alex, and he tells me, okay, no, this is how it was, and this is why it was like.
Well, nobody's saying
shit
Alex
on.
is not right.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You know
Though
what I
that
mean?
what I'm trying to say is that the majority is not like him. That takes the time to do the legit research and figure out why shit happened and where it went down. And people just try to put blame without knowing the whole story.
Well, here's the thing: shit happened.
Yeah.
What's more important is the shit gonna continue happening? That's the important part. Shit did happen. Everybody's already fucking said that, and we were already way past that. Way past that. There's some families that were fucking grandpas were fucking influenced by this. The other ones are not. But if it's continuing to perpetuate, now that's a fucking issue. That's where the problem lies. You know what I mean? And in my opinion, like, people are always gonna fucking put you in groups. They're gonna do that because you're not part of the tribe. It's easier to identify.
They need you to be in a group.
Yeah,
that
they
way
do.
they can
Separate.
separate everybody, and that way you can control everybody.
I think
They want
now
you to forget that we're
Yeah,
all
you
humans.
exactly.
Yes, but
if
then
you
there's-
forget that
but then-
everybody's human, at the end of the day, they can control you.
But
they
then
can,
there's
they
a
can
theory.
put you in a situation that can control you. Yeah, it's just like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, but I think what happened is now that's being used to separate the people. But in reality, like, this is how we are. We're a communitarian species, right? So if I'm going into an area where I don't know anyone, I'm going to associate myself with people that look more like me because it screams home. This is what I'm used to. I'm not gonna go into
There's
communities.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that I'm a racist. It just means this is my biological propensity to do this shit.
Of
You know?
course,
Yeah,
I mean,
but
it's also like if you've been around that, because just like you said with Cuba, there's everyone there. So like you go to
Well,
a
yeah, that's not a
metropolitan,
thing,
you
right?
grow up in
There
a
you go,
big
turn it up
city,
there.
you see everyone,
Yes.
all different colors,
Yes.
and you're just
Low,
used
low.
to it.
Well, but you see that I think if you take United States, I think United States is the most diverse country in the world. We're literally the melting pot. You have everyone and
Yeah,
in
175
between
is
in United States.
Thank you, brother.
I think we see enough of that as well. I think the problem is that somebody's growing up, being influenced by this or that, and then they grow up to, because see, this is what happens. Like, the best example I can bring you, is, I hate to bring this to gender, but you know how girls will say, "Oh, fucking Scorpio men are the worst." Why? Because she once had a bad experience with a Scorpio man.
Yeah.
Now the Scorpio men, all of them across the board, are the
Yeah,
fucking
Man,
worst.
I
Get that-
don't.
I think
don't-
that's what
gotta
it
click
is.
on the
I don't
page
know
so that-
how good is your
Click on the page,
opinion
little
if
menu
it's
bar, by the
based
way.
in
One
astrology,
experience.
Scorpion
And one experience.
Gemini
Yeah, it's one
thing.
One
experience.
experience.
Like I don't know how I'm gonna trust your opinion if your opinion is based in that.
So
like,
I'm guessing this is your sister, right? Giselle.
Yes.
She's like, Jessica's always gotten white girl, and I've always gotten Latina.
Latino,
The
yeah.
stereotypes of what
That-
Latino look
it's
like.
because they're very, in a sense,
We're
different.
very
They're-
different.
she-
So, blonde, green eyes. She's literally brunette, brown eyes.
So who is she more like? Mom's side of family or dad's side of family? Because she had to take up after
It's
someone.
hard to say because a lot of my family has like the light eyes and everything like that, and the light hair.
Como que milkman?
Bueno, no.
yeah, he had
I
lechero.
I would say
Yo siempre
she
lo he
does
dicho.
look a lot like my dad.
Okay, cool.
And like my dad's side of the family, like my grandma, but it's just completely different. I
feel
don't
like there's
get
a
the
really
Latina.
good mix. Like
Yeah.
you guys just like really like if you took an AI and then took your mom and your dad and then like just did it twice. Like that's how you guys kind of came out. I feel like.
Cause
But
we don't look
guys,
alike at all.
But yeah, you guys don't look alike. But when you guys
We look
put
like our parents.
there, you go.
Yeah.
You put you two next to your mom, and you're like, oh, duh, that's her daughters. Like absolutely.
But like she was saying, she looks more of like what people assume a
Latin
Latina
person.
to look like. I'm also like skinny. She is very like curvy and everything like that, which
She's a little
also
shorter
is
than you,
so
right?
short. All those things are kind of like stereotypical for a Latina to have. So no one would assume right off the bat that I'm Latina. I always say to him, and anytime we go somewhere, I decide that day if I want to be Latina or not. Because
Yeah, you
someone
can do
that's
that.
talking to
Yeah.
me in Spanish or in English, or let's say that they speak Spanish, they see me and they think, oh, she's American. And they try like their best to speak English with me. And I'm like, do I want them to struggle, or should I just start speaking Spanish back to them? And then I'm like, whatever I want, because they don't know.
So
unless I
let me
speak.
ask you this. Let me ask you this because
they always like, ¿te hablas español? For me.
so
Instantly.
for 18 years I lived in different countries, and then when I was 18 I came to the United States, and that's been already 22 years. So United States I lived the longest. Right? Even though I've lived in the United States the longest, even though I love this country, I consider myself an American right now, I still don't feel an American because I'm not an American, but I'm none of those other people
Right.
either. I'm somewhere in between. So how does that work for you?
Really hard, at least for her.
Yeah,
Because-
because you're Cuban. 'Cause you grew up in
Yeah.
Cuba, 18
Right.
years old, army. Like when you were younger, you were raised as Cuban. They're not gonna take that away from you.
Right.
There's
So
no way.
in my experience, since I was born here and I have Cuban family, I'm seeing Cuba from their lens of how it is. And obviously I experienced the culture because my parents came here at a young age. They were both around 18. They had me in their like early 20s. So I got like the Cuban experience here. Like I had to learn English in school. So I almost feel like I'm too Cuban or too Latina for the kids at school because
But you're not.
I'm living a different culture than them
But
at
at the
home.
same time,
But then
she's
at the same
Not
time,
Latina enough.
I
Latina.
wasn't born there, so
Latin
I
people.
don't.
Yeah.
I can't relate to his experiences because I didn't live those.
Yeah.
So I'm somewhere in the middle between a hybrid of Cuban
Yeah.
American.
So let me
It's,
ask you
it's
this.
funny though. My first introduction to like Cuban culture was with her family.
Yeah. So let me
Back in
ask you
middle
this.
school.
What is the one thing that your family doesn't do anymore? Like that was part of the Cuban experience, but since they came to United States, they're like, all right, this thing is just gotta go. Where he still does, but you don't.
I would say I mean I can't think of a lot, but one of the things I can say, once you come here and you start bringing so many people from your family over, it's almost like you're Cuban because you grew up there, but it's almost a disconnect. His family, since they have came sooner, like not that long ago, they still have so much family over there. They know what's going on. They're up to date. We're not as up to date with what's going on right now.
But I'm talking about more like
You know?
habits, like habits that he has that you don't have anymore, but your family did when they were in Cuba or their grandparents did.
I mean, he's
Okay.
been here a while, 8 years
Listen,
already. So
it's-
It doesn't matter, bro. You can't take away. Like when
Nah.
somebody asks.
Yeah,
you-
I know what he's trying to say.
Yeah, I
when
know what you
somebody
mean.
tells you, when somebody says, well, I came from Cuba, immediate question I have, where did you go to high school? Because high school, that period between ages of what is it, 14 through 18, that's what really decides.
What is that?
That literally decides like what you're gonna be, like whether you're gonna be an American or not. Because I didn't finish my high school here, and I cannot relate to the kids that finish high school here. We don't relate. We don't jam. Like my brother finished high school here, and I don't.
You know,
and he's more American than I am.
You know, I kind of have that same feeling because I didn't take my second semester in school. I was at home for the whole second semester, so I didn't do any of the activities with my seniors. Only thing I did, I came back for graduation.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the year.
So it's there's a disconnect because
college,
high school
yes.
decides what you're gonna be. You know, that's that time, because those are the times when you're molding your opinions and things like that with your friends, and you're not gonna listen to your fucking parents because they're old and they're stupid, right? They don't know what they're talking about. You know, so but anyway, so what's this burning of the scarecrow thing?
Yeah, I was wondering.
I honestly don't know.
De que en el
'Cause
año
I'm
nuevo
thinking
queman
of, like,
scarecrows. What is that in Spanish?
¿Qué es
Es un
scarecrow?
espantapájaro.
Oh, yeah. That's
I have
this
no
tradition
knowledge of
every
that.
single day
Ah,
they
so
do.
it is something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Typing it up, but I'll let him explain it.
Yeah.
Es 31 de
Mira,
diciembre,
yo no
¿verdad?
sé.
See, New
Yeah,
Year's.
December 31st, right?
Why scarecrow?
You did
yeah,
that?
they actually burn. They basically get an old pants and an old shirt, and they
Make a
put like this
Stuffing.
yeah,
They make a
stuffing
a
inside,
scarecrow,
and they
un
burn it
espantapájaro.
like, oh, this is the bad
vibes.
part or the bad thing of the year.
Yeah.
We burn it here so we can get the new year like clear.
Quemar la mala suerte.
Yeah,
seguro.
yeah, something
That's
like
another thing I think her
Burn the
sister
bad-
Yes,
mentioned.
I just said.
Okay.
I was just reading that. His
Do you
family.
see that shit?
Yeah.
Some of it's a blur.
Basically, what I was saying about being up to date with Cuba is kind of like a habit, because since you don't really have much family there, you don't know how much the Cuban peso is going for, or how much
It's not important.
It's not that important anymore, because the people that are really important to you are here. They communicate using WhatsApp with their family in Cuba back and forth. We don't use that because our family's been here since I was born. So we still have our Cuban traditions and our culture, but we're Americanized. So
Yeah.
we don't have to be up to date
yeah,
with
yeah,
that.
you
A
you
lot
can
of
see a big
Hispanic
difference.
people use WhatsApp. Even my friends, there are some of them.
Yeah.
Like for example, Mauricio, he's
Well-
from Peru. He rather use WhatsApp than use regular messaging. To me, I don't understand it
I
because I,
don't.
grew up.
So I don't know if it's just Hispanics and Latinos, because you see that a lot with Europeans as well.
Using WhatsApp?
Yes,
WhatsApp's
Europeans
popular all over
and
the world.
Asians. Yeah, I was gonna say it's popular in the whole world,
'Cause it's
except
through
for United
internet.
States, right? Because even in Canada, popular.
Because it's through internet, and
Yes.
a lot of times you have
And
to
it
pay for
but it's-
messages.
but it
regular
still
messages,
registers
so
through a
WhatsApp
phone
was
number.
free.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, but WhatsApp was free because you had to use it through internet. So you get to Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Now you can use WhatsApp. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Right.
We're here. We're like, okay, well, messages were free since
And
God
it's
knows
easy
when.
because like I said, it connects through your phone number, but you have to just have internet. So when you're abroad and you don't necessarily have phone signal where you can make a normal phone number, you just go through WhatsApp, and it's still linked to all your contacts and everybody's normal phone
Yes.
numbers. It's not like some random account through email or
Right.
username or some shit.
But it's easier for us to just use the messages that our phone comes with.
Yeah.
But when we want to speak with someone that doesn't have that, you have to go through those
I,
ways.
I think that the largest issue I find in the United States is, like, you know, I did meet, you know, because you guys are foreign, so it's not the case, but the actual American people, they don't really give a shit about these issues. They don't care because it's not their reality. They don't care. They're rather like, okay, well, let's sit down
You
and
don't
have
use
a beer.
WhatsApp,
I don't
do you,
care
Alex?
if I don't care if corruption exists. I don't care about
I
this
have,
about
yeah.
that. You know, like Alex is a
like they are-
exception from the
they-
rule,
they
obviously, you
own
know.
one.
But here, younger people or people my age or younger people, they really don't give a fuck what's going on in Cuba, what's going on in Europe. They're like, we're very isolated. You know
Yeah,
what
I mean, you
'Cause
usually
the entire
don't-
continent is
You
United
usually
States,
don't
basically.
care about things that happen in a different country.
They're
You know,
worried
you're not
about the
thinking of that.
Kardashians.
Like,
Hey,
you just living your life, you know.
as long as you know the date when she got the next BBL, we're good. You know.
Yeah.
But
America's propaganda machine doesn't want you to see outside of,
No,
they only want you to see what they want you to see outside.
No,
If the country's struggling, they want to compare themselves to them. If a country's doing better because they're socialist things, they don't want you to see that.
Well, no, I don't think America is a propaganda, because if you want the information, you can find it. It is available and it is.
There we go.
Yeah,
it is
I mean,
ready.
Chat, nice and
sometimes
big
it's
for you
not
guys.
even like that. It's just that the
issue
system is made to put you in this position that you don't have time to think in what kind of problem other people have, because
kind of
you
though-
have your own problems.
What he's saying
So
though
you
kind of
have
does
to-
remind me though of Cuba, because like you can probably speak on this more. Cuba has people that are, their job is to censor and watch out for what you're looking on YouTube, what are you looking on in the internet, so that you don't see what's happening in the outside world.
Well, that happens in Russia. That happens in China. You
Yeah.
know, that happens in a lot of places. But what I'm trying to say is, in United States, you don't care because you don't deal with these issues.
That's
You
not
never
your
dealt
life.
with that,
Yeah.
so you don't know what it is like to deal with like fucking hunger for weeks and months straight ahead. Because we have this thing called WIC, right? Like, which was again very racist. You want to talk about WIC? Well, that was racist because they had a bunch of fucking cheese, and they said like, that's why it's called government cheese, right? Like, a lot of people don't know the story behind government cheese. It was the reason it's called government cheese because they had fucking cheese everywhere. They're like, well, just give this cheese to poor people because it's gonna go bad. And that's where WIC and the government cheese was fucking invented from. Like, let's give them a little bit of cheese, have them shut the fuck up. That's the whole idea of But you do have that government assistance here. It's shit, but you have it. Where in other places you don't have it. But there's other places that you have a lot more government assistance. Yeah, I think we're in the middle. We're not the worst like a lot of people say. Oh, this is shit.
Our government assistance is a trap, though.
Yeah,
It
is.
is.
Because a lot of us has
is.
you have a rug pull the second you try to save money or make money.
Correct.
They're
Yeah,
like, all
that's-
right, you can't live now.
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
that's the same thing with Cuba. Every Cuban person knows that if the government give you things, they are trying to control you. That's for sure, because nothing in this world is free, man. Nothing is free. So if you're not paying for it, somebody else is paying for it. And there is a way to take that payment out of you, and that's for sure. There's a way to take that money.
Well, that's
out
why
of you.
when I'm saying,
Nothing is free.
When people fighting for raising the minimum wage and doing this and doing that, this is why I say, okay, well, they raised the minimum wage. How do you think this is going to reflect? Everything else is going to go up in price. Whether you want to call it corporate greed, whatever you want to call it, it is what it is. It's just going to go up.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen because people are like that. People are not like... If I have a family, I'm going to care for my family before I care about my fucking neighbor. I'm sorry. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to make sure my kids are fed before my neighbor's kids are fed.
Right.
It's the way it is.
It's how it is in nature.
Everywhere.
Yeah, in nature. That's exactly how it is in nature. This is how we are.
I wouldn't say that's how it is in nature, because we have European countries that pass laws to keep people from gouging prices and making sure that their workers' unions have very strong backing so that the workers have rights and are able to strike and not lose their job or fight for better wages without worry of going hungry or losing everything.
But still, those
but
same countries...
Then they take you 50% of your money in taxes. So
Yes.
The
at
highest
the end of
is
the day,
30.
you're paying.
The highest is 38%.
Well, the
The
same
highest in a
Spain right
European
now
country.
is 50%, I think.
Spain?
But you
Spain.
got to think about what you're
provide
getting.
yeah.
You're getting childcare, free health care.
Yes,
You're getting
but
Yeah, but I'm the kind of person that think like, don't give me nothing. I don't need nothing from you. Just let me make my thing. Let me build my life, and I'm gonna be able to have all those things. Don't give it to me. I don't need
get
it.
what you're saying,
Just
but then
let me do it by myself.
no,
You
see,
know what
but
that links to?
Here's the issue. If the Spain was
your
such-
medical care, you're gonna pay $4,000 to $8,000 on that ambulance ride.
That's no problem. I'm gonna find out the way to have those 40K.
But then you look at other
when that
countries,
ambulance had already been paid by the government, as well as your insurance company, if you decide to have insurance, they were paid by the government, and then they ask you to pay them to get insurance.
Well, see, here's the thing. Even though that, let's say, exists in European countries,
they bamboozle you in a different way.
So yes, they are gonna take your money no matter how, one way or another. That's fine. But the point here is this: you do have these countries that provide all these things, but yet when you ask these people in these countries, do you want to come to live in the United States? They say yes.
Of
Why?
course. Let me tell you this.
It's-
In Cuba,
it's not
for
just-
example.
I don't know if that's
They
true,
do.
bro.
They
I
do.
don't.
really
I don't.
think
That
that's
is not true. That's not true for
You
most.
can't get us right now,
for most
nigga.
first world. No.
No, it is true. If you ask
For,
people,
for Germany, for Sweden, they look at us like we are crazy because we're done
Australia.
toting killing each other all the time.
That's a big
People
truth,
are
yeah.
like, yo, I don't want to vacate to the U.S. anymore because I might get shot.
Yet the minute summer comes around, everyone that's walking around in an entire city of St. Petersburg is red like a fucking lobster because they're either from England, they're from Germany, or from some other place that they're coming here. So why are they coming here and not going to Tenerife? Tenerife or Turkey?
I mean, they're
It's
also
closer,
going
it's
to
cheaper.
Ibiza. They're going all over the
Correct,
place.
and
Like,
it's cheaper, but they're electing to come to United States. And when
But
they do come
but
to
this
United
is a-
States, they continue
not-
to come to
See,
United
I
States.
can't. I don't think you can look at the tourists as a way to say like these are
Right?
people like because they're tourists. That's literally what
No,
they're
because
doing.
these people
going
know-
to different
because
places, and
these
they just
people
so
know-
have to have chosen
Yeah, I agree with
the
you.
United States.
Because like you might go vacation somewhere, but you don't know what the government's like. You don't really care.
Yeah, but
you
see,
know?
the thing is,
I don't
a
give a
lot of
fuck
these
about
people
Colombia
also
when I went to
understand.
Colombia.
Also understand that here you have the opportunity. It's very, very slim, but you have the opportunity to make something out of your life. You don't need to be
That's
a
different,
billionaire.
but we're talking about-
But you
talking
can
about
be a
tourists.
millionaire comfortably.
But we're
In this
talking about
country, you can
tourism,
be a
that's different.
millionaire comfortably.
Right.
This is what I'm trying to say. To become a millionaire in Spain, in France, in all of those places, the chance of that is much slimmer than it is in the United States. This is what I'm talking about. And if somebody comes in with the gumption and the balls to do it, and they're able to do it, fine. That's the only thing. We still have the opportunity to be a millionaire and live a normal life. When in other countries you do, but it's much slimmer. That's the difference. Everybody's looking for. There's a reason why it's called American Dream. Like these things would not be true if people wouldn't say if this.
I don't
wasn't
know.
true.
I like to say that the American dream is that dreams that I have when I have to wake up at 5 in the morning to go to work. That's the American dream.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I'm dreaming
I mean,
right now,
American
man.
Dream is difficult.
I want to sleep. That's all I want.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
I want to
American
challenge Jay's statement about it's easy to become a millionaire when only 8% of American population are millionaires.
Correct.
Is 8% really an easy thing to obtain?
Nah, it's not.
8% is what? 10 times. It's 10 people out of
It's 22 million people.
22 million. Correct. So out of every 10 person you see on the street is a millionaire. Where you cannot say that about other countries.
Not that much, no. It's
Well,
less than
8%.
that, but
okay,
yeah.
every 11 person out of one person. out
But
of
you
every
understand
11.
how small comparative to the population of America
It
that
is,
right?
but it's smaller in other countries.
And that's what I'm saying about the imaginary bootstraps. We tell ourselves you can come. We tell people you can come to this country and become that 8%, that 1%. But we lie.
Yeah, that's not true.
So
most of the
so
time,
okay,
yeah.
so let me.
We
let me-
want you to get up into the middle class so that we can fuck you with taxes.
Okay,
That's what we
so
want.
let me ask you this. So if I have somebody tells me, okay, you want to be a millionaire, I say yes, and then tell me in America you have 8%, in Canada let's say you have 7%, in European countries you have 6% to become a millionaire. Where are you going? Where are you going logically? Where are you going?
So I'm looking here at the percentages of adult population, millionaires, right? Because they're trying to exclude like
Hit
trust
by the
trust fund babies.
Can you arrange it by the number?
On that
Trust fund
specific-
babies? That's a different thing.
But I'm trying to say like they're trying to do
The
that.
highest is Switzerland.
So
Yeah, but that's
the
still
U.S. is
completely
5.
different.
The U.S. is 5 on that list. So you got Switzerland. They're looking at Hong Kong separately as a whole, and then
Yeah, but that,
Singapore.
I mean, that's,
but
Australia,
that's a percent.
Switzerland-
So you counting every.
You have to look at the
Percent
three
of the
countries:
population.
Singapore,
Person
Hong
and,
Kong, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Switzerland. These are all non-extradition countries that you can have banking laws that nobody can get your money out of them. So
Australia.
majority of that money is American money.
Yeah.
Australia.
The Panama documents was about that.
I mean, but
literally.
you can't just say that's majority.
But these
of
are
just
paying
American money
these are
because
paying
of,
their taxes.
and then a lot of other
What's that?
countries
In
are
those
also
other
doing that same
countries.
loophole you're
Not-
talking about.
That's
Just
what it
Americans.
says in the
What's that?
paper, but
That's
I
not just
don't-
Americans,
I
correct?
don't know
But there's
how
a
true
lot of
that
American
is.
money
So
there.
there's a lot of American money, but there's also a lot of money from other places. I would say.
Correct.
As well.
This is the reason why. So I would eliminate those 3 countries off the top, right off the get. I would just get rid of
So
them
then you got
completely.
Australia, right? Then
You
US.
can't do that though, because when they are put in those countries, when that money, they have to have residency and pay taxes. So they
It
are
is talking
counted
about the adult population.
as those numbers.
Which is, I'm telling you, if right now you took $2 to $3 billion and took it to Switzerland, they'll grant you the fucking residency.
I get that, but his is pretty valid. You can't just say no, they're not there.
Yeah, they're used.
They're there.
But their
trying
system is
to
completely different.
grow
Their
up their
system is
economy.
not
I
that.
get that.
These
How?
trusts, they do not pay any taxes. This is why there's a trust.
But still, like,
These
how
trusts
much
don't pay taxes.
How much of that percentage could you say? You can only guess, and then by guessing, you're just excluding it
No,
completely.
I'm not
and that's
guessing.
kind of invalid.
All I'm saying
I know
is-
you can't guess. You
Well,
can't.
Were you looking up the trust funds, right?
No,
The millionaires
I'm looking
that
up
live there,
millionaires, but only specifically adults, excluding trust fund babies.
excluding the trust fund babies. Okay,
what I'm
millionaires
trying
that
to
are adults. So when you're in that country,
Adult population, yeah.
you have. So I'm in finance. I understand how these things work. When you open a trust fund operates as its own thing. So you as a beneficiary, technically you're a millionaire. But that trust fund, if you don't take any money out of the trust fund is not paying shit in taxes. So you can have millionaires that live in a country but pay nothing in taxes because majority of their money is in the trust funds and everything gets done through the companies.
But
Oh,
they have
that
to be
happen
considered
everywhere.
on this thing. They would have to be considered a population of that country, like a resident.
But
or
being
citizen.
a trust fund baby and owning a trust fund is completely different. You as, let's say, trust fund baby is, let's say, your dad
That's not what I'm talking
has
about.
a
Trust
bunch
fund
of
baby.
money.
I'm saying that they have to
So
actually
isn't
be
it
a resident.
excluding trust funds though?
I don't know.
Is
It's
it
just saying-
excluding trust funds
It
or
just
trust
says
fund babies? I don't know.
trust people that are not adults. What I'm trying to say, I just mean trust fund babies as like a reference to
People
like
that
you know,
are people.
all it says is percentage of millionaires of
Percent
adult
population.
population. Ready? Can I just read off this list? So you got Switzerland at 15.5% of the adult population are millionaires. Then you got Hong Kong at 15.3, Singapore 12.7, Australia 11.2, United States 9.7, New Zealand right under us at 9.6, the Netherlands at 8.5.
Yeah.
And it
So
keeps
some of
going,
those
and
have-
they're pretty high. Like this list doesn't just drop off drastically; it just steadily drops down.
Yeah,
Can you
obviously.
scroll to the bottom because some of them
India,
have asterisks
0.1.
on them, so maybe.
So what does the
that has a
asterisk mean?
meaning.
Yeah, go down to
Scroll more
asterisk.
down.
I mean, at the end of the day, you put all these numbers together, and it's still a really small percent of the
People that are millionaires, yes.
of the world population for sure. It's a really small number.
So anyway, the point what I'm trying to say.
indicates links to articles on the economy of the country or territories.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say, yes, do these millionaires exist? But good luck right now going to Switzerland and trying to survive in Switzerland. Like, they'll give you the government assistance. You can live there, but you're never going to become one of those rich people, the millionaires. You're just not.
But they do. There's literal proof that there's millionaires that make it all the time
but
in
the
Switzerland.
thing is with Switzerland, with Hong Kong, with Singapore, these are all tax sheltered countries, which means a lot of these people are not necessarily born in those countries.
And when you have money here, you get all the amazing tax laws that like 0% on corporate tax.
Correct.
So,
Yes.
like we're also the same. And what,
Yes.
like I'm saying,
Yes.
you are saying that it's easier here when you're hitting an 8% margin out of 100. That
What
is
I'm
such
saying
a
is
fucking small target.
It's
You
easier
can't
for
pull
you to
yourself
become.
up.
It's easier for you to become in European countries. There's this thing that called the family money. Family money.
So then
will
if it's
ensure that.
easier to become in other countries, why would they want to come here?
If you're not part of the family, where are you
I
gonna
think
go?
I know what you mean. Like you say it all the time. You're like the people that are millionaires in those countries. That family has been millionaires
For
since
ages.
Generational
That's
wealth.
really
Yes,
old
generational.
money,
But
yeah.
here in the United States, you have the ability to make that money.
Make it yourself. Yeah.
And there are
No,
many-
here in the United States, if
no.
you have generational money, that's how you can build. Here in the United States, you might be able to.
And
You
that-
might be able to.
and what I'm saying
or
now-
you might be living paycheck to paycheck, like
Correct.
60% of the population.
Correct.
in America.
And whose fault is that? Government?
America.
No.
Yes.
It's our gluttony for
The lack
shit.
of
No,
workers' laws,
Our
the low
gluttony for
wages.
shit. The 60% I can guarantee the ones that live in paycheck to
Bro,
paycheck is because not because of that.
Bro,
Wait.
no, you're
20
wrong. You're 100% wrong.
20 of the countries here still go by $7.25 an hour.
So what's that now?
Sorry, 20 of the states here in the United States.
That's
20 of
crazy,
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but by saying
And
60%,
a good 30 of them are right to work, which means I can fire you for any fucking reason.
that's fine. That's fine. But the breakdown doesn't make
Right
sense.
to work.
60% that live as paycheck to paycheck, right? I agree with that. They do. I'm not saying they don't. What I'm saying that in the United States, we still have a middle class. Middle class has to be part of the 60%. So if the middle class is part of the 60%, that middle class, whoever becomes part of that 60%, is doing something wrong because there's other part of the middle class that are not paycheck to paycheck. This is what I'm
Bro,
saying.
you don't understand. It is price of food, price of rent, housing, all that shit. It's rose. You want to know why? Because the top 1% wants more money. They always want more money, and we don't pass laws to keep them from doing
Can you
this,
bring up the
so we
breakdown of
keep
classes
getting
in the United
fucked up.
States? Breakdown of classes from poorest to the richest.
Yes,
What the
please
percentage
show
was.
him the wage gap so he understands that
Wage
there is
gap.
such a
what do you
fucking
mean by
gap
that? Like,
between.
I mean,
Like your bell curve on our...
Yeah, on a bell curve, please.
I can understand what both of you guys saying. Like I can understand his part and your part, but at the same time, what he's saying is United States compared to the majority of countries in this world, United States is one of those countries that how you say, it's a combination of both of you guys' opinion. Like you say, United States is one of those countries that you may be able to
Yes.
do it.
Yes.
Of course, it's maybe.
It's hard.
Maybe.
It's maybe.
Maybe you.
I'm not saying
you
100%.
do
It's
it.
maybe.
But at the same time, if just that maybe give you enough to be here and not in a different.
What does that say?
It says
at least in my
annual
way of
household income, and it's just breaking it down. So
Yep.
under 15,000, you got 9.3%.
Okay.
15,000 to 24,999, you got 8.1. 25,000 to 35,000, 7.8.
So that's what, about 30% total?
No. You're getting
About 30%, a little
No,
under
a
30.
little under, a little
under
under.
30. Go further.
you're at 24. There. So you
35 to 49.
What is
you're
it?
at
35 to 49? That's the median average median household
30,
income
30,
right
yeah,
there.
35 to 49. You're getting at 10.9.
That's median average household income in United States. What's the percentage with that?
10.9.
10.9.
The highest,
So that puts you at what? That puts you at about 35% total?
34.
34%. Then go. What's the...
So the highest one is 16.9%. Is 50,000 to 75,000.
There you go. This is what I'm trying to say. That's right there. What is it, 16? That's your 60% right there. That is your 60%. So what we're saying is, according to household median income, all the way up to $75,000, 60% of them are living paycheck to paycheck. Then that means they're doing something wrong, because $75,000, if the median household income is $45,000,
How can you connect that when we have price of living, food, and all that, which is different in each?
Oh, we got something cut.
Something
Something cut.
We got
Stop.
cut.
It's on his end.
On your end, I think it might have been.
See if you can bring it back.
I mean, he's here. His audio cut out though.
Oh, your audio cut out. Okay, we can talk about something else. No,
It's his audio.
not yet. The audio cut out. We can talk about something else until he comes back, because I don't want to.
Well, we're about to get 2 hours.
Okay. But anyway, we can always continue with this. But the whole thing is, the bottom line. Are you happy to be here?
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Would you have chosen
man, if you ask a Cuban person, if you want to be on this
see something real
crazy system that maybe you become a millionaire, maybe now, maybe you have to live check by check, and they gonna ask you only one thing: there's something to eat over there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's food here, It's expensive, but you can buy food. You can see in the market. You go to the supermarket, you find food. Oh, okay, that's good for me.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
go
good.
over there.
Yeah, but then again, Cuba is a very, very extreme case, right?
Right.
Like if you take
Talk
some
out,
other
see if I can hear
countries,
you
they
from my
might not.
phone.
Yeah.
They might say no,
Yeah,
no, thank
that's
you.
for
In,
sure.
like for example, in his case, he has family
Say something.
who was making really good money in Cuba, you know, doing what they
I'm not
have
saying
to
Whatever
do.
really,
they're
really
doing,
good
whatever
money. I'm
they're
saying
getting by.
a little bit more
good
than
based on the population.
yeah.
They're getting by.
They're the people I'm talking
Trina?
about. They bought a car, so they obviously are doing good.
Something
Say
right.
something for me, Alex.
So what I'm trying to say is, if they're doing good in Cuba and they want to come here, then there's something wrong with the system.
Exactly, I
Because
mean-
if you're living better than an average Cuban,
and you still want to come
and
here?
you still want to come,
There's
even though you
something
have
here.
food on the table, you go out and party to the club,
Yeah.
you bought a car, you bought a house, you're doing just fine.
No, and I
you know?
understand because as I said, I lived in other countries, and I'm lucky enough where my family members are okay there, and because of my family members, I got to know a bunch of other people that are also in that level,
Yeah.
and those people, the ones that are there in that level, they're the ones that are like, fuck that. What am I gonna go to United States for? I'm gonna have everything
Exactly.
here that I need. But living in a different, but all the other ones, let's say my high school friends and things like that, the minute you mention United States, they're like, shit, when can we come visit? Is there a way to stay there? Like, this is just a normal thing, It's just, they're not talking about Germany. They're all going to Germany to work in Germany. They're all going to France to work there. They're all going to Norway to work there. I have many friends that worked in Norway to make money to bring it back to the country, but yet they don't live in Norway, even though they have an opportunity to live in Norway or even in Germany or even in France. But yet, when you ask them, would you want to live in the United States, they all say unequivocally, yes, I want to live in the United States.
Yeah, that's gonna be the answer.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I think the issue is, I think if every person in the United States that hasn't felt what other countries have felt would think differently, including myself. If I felt maybe what Norway has or something, maybe I would think differently. But it's all about the experience, right? Like that you live in, and I think that's like the big predicator to what you're gonna think is best for you.
Right.
You back there, Alex?
Oh,
No,
shit, we
no.
can't hear him.
Yeah, I'm not getting a green bubble on your Discord, so it must be on your side. That's really weird.
Yeah, that's super weird. Alex is gonna probably try to shut off and then come back, guys. To those that are still watching us, let's see what your sister has.
Just take off that scene for now, then maybe.
So she says, but why should the rich have to be limited to help the poor to be less poor? Living in America, you have the 1% chance you would never have in Cuba, or is okay. So why the rich should be limited to help the poor? Now, I don't think they should be limited, but it should be up to that person to help and how much they want to help. And especially if you work for the money that you work for, it's up to you how you want to spend that money, because you
Right.
really earned the money, right? So by somebody coming in and saying you have to do that, I think
No,
that's
I
the
don't.
issue. Don't tell me what I have to do. Let me do what I want to do. Because when you tell me you have to, and you say, for example, you have to give every year $1 million. But for example, I wanted to give $3 million. Now I'm going to say, fuck you, I'm not giving you shit.
Right.
Because I was going to give you 3, but now I'm going to give you
here's-
shit.
Here's my thing on that. Because sometimes poor people or people with low
Socioeconomic status,
yeah, they want to kind of shit on millionaires or people with businesses because they are making money and this and that. But for example, people talk crap about Jeff Bezos and Amazon, and they pay their workers low wages and blah blah blah. If they didn't pay that wage, he wouldn't be making that much money. And
You
at
wouldn't
the
be
end
making
of the
money
day,
at all. We wouldn't have Amazon.
Exactly. So it's like,
And your packages would not come in 2
the
days.
thing is that every person that has money got there in a certain, got there by working to get there.
I mean, and-
in some
and also-
way.
I think every person got to be like, you don't just get to be Jeff Bezos, you don't get to be Elon
Right.
Musk. You have to rub the correct leg.
Right.
At
So-
one point. But they were smart enough to rub that correct
Right.
leg. If I knew what leg to rub, guess what? I would not be at this podcast. I'd be fucking rubbing legs.
So the people,
Oh, I'm back.
Oh,
there
you're
you
back.
go.
so the people that want to say, "Oh, Jeff Bezos is a millionaire. He
Gotta
needs to
switch
give
the,
us some money."
picture.
Why? Why does he have to give you money when he was rubbing the right whatever
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
and doing what he has to do, and you're not doing nothing?
Well,
You know?
it's not doing nothing. I think it's what it is I think both sides are shitting on each other for no fucking reason, right? They're shitting on
Yeah.
each other.
Well, I believe they should at least pay taxes.
Let me
you
see
know.
your-
Yeah,
let me see
yeah.
If
your
I have to
face,
put
Manuel.
into my
They
roads,
should
if I have to
pay
put
taxes.
into my things, they should pay taxes.
That's
No, I agree. You should pay taxes. In the United States, you have two things to do. One is to be born, and second, to pay fucking taxes.
yeah.
Let me see your face, Smooth.
But the thing is also, these rich people think like, yeah, I mean, I can pay taxes, but where
There you go,
my
you beautiful
taxes
bastard.
are going?
Yes.
Where are going my taxes? Tell me where my taxes going?
Yeah.
Like where's my money going? Because there's all this corruption about the taxes system that
No,
you
and
know
I-
actually where your money going.
And
So
didn't
then
we talk
I
about
don't
this the
want
other
to
day?
give you my money because at the end of the day, rich people pay taxes don't means poor people is gonna have more.
Correct.
That money can stay over there, up there, and
Yeah.
you don't
The
even see it. The government take it, you don't even see it.
You know,
So-
you know
so
what's
me-
funny?
they
That's
know
why-
that.
That's why I say don't pay anything in fucking taxes at all, and then each person decides how much they're gonna give and where they're gonna give it to and how they're gonna fucking do it. That's it. Simple as that.
That's a libertarian thing, and that's doesn't work in the
Yeah,
economy.
you're right. It doesn't work because we're fucking trickle down economy.
It
never
doesn't
works.
build roads. People are selfish. They're not going to pay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I get that. So there's a flip side of the coin. So out of all these things that we're talking about, then we have a pretty decent system. So we don't have that much of a shitty
I mean,
system.
I just think that
That's what I come to. It's not
criticizing
perfect.
the other side is just pointless because if you were in the position that they're in with that much money,
You would think
you're gonna
differently.
find ways to
You're gonna fucking think
not
differently,
pay that
bro.
much taxes. You're gonna find a way to do this or that. So it's like, you're just living
You're gonna
what-
think differently. It just happens. It's a natural thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because at first, like, oh, I don't have it, so I need this person to make sure that I have it. And when you start having it, like, oh no, wait a minute, this person is trying to take it away. I don't want him anymore.
Yeah.
Give me the other person. That's not gonna take.
I mean,
it.
it's an American thing because of our laws.
No, I don't think it's necessarily an American thing. I think it's a thing across the
Yes,
board.
because
It's not.
millionaires
sure
in
those
other
things
countries
happen
in the
every
EU
single
pay.
country
In
that have
other
this
countries-
taxes system.
In other countries, rich people, just like Americans, are worried about how they're gonna not pay fucking taxes.
Yep, that's
I
for sure.
promise you that.
That's for sure.
Every
I
single
watch a lot of
businessman- yeah. I
Spanish
agree with
YouTube videos.
Yeah, they
And they
just
say the
as
same.
much watch how they're not gonna pay fucking taxes. Every
Yep.
every
I'm just
millionaire
saying,
in other countries.
comparatively, America to other countries, we have a lot more safeguards and a lot less laws.
And we also
you
make
could
a
do-
lot
I don't
more.
know if I
We also make a
truly
lot more
believe
money
in
than
that.
them too. In general, so on average, yes, Americans are gonna end up paying a lot more taxes across the fucking board. They just are. We make more money.
You
Our
understand
GDP is
the
higher,
rich
so we're
just
gonna pay
got a
more
tax
taxes.
cut, right?
Huh?
2023 Trump taxes went in, and the rich got a tax cut.
Yes. So
How does that help America?
it helps the rich people. That's why Trump was elected
Exactly.
by rich people.
Because their money stays in the bank.
Correct.
Their money stays in investments.
Correct.
That doesn't help America. That helps them.
Yes. This is why I live in the United States.
Yeah, that's cool.
help me and my
If I-
family.
if I'm
Fuck
in
you.
that
I ain't worried about
position,
you.
I don't wanna-
Yeah,
probably
fuck you
wanna-
mean? I'm
the
doing
same,
everything
yeah.
to live in the United States. I mean, it's like I'm sorry, but like
Yeah.
each
But
to
you
his
think
own.
you can get to that?
Can
I
I, get
mean-
to that? There's a very small chance.
I'm not saying like any offensive or anything. Like I
No, I
full
get-
on
I
let
get-
you
I-
drink.
I
You
know-
have
I know what you're
family
saying,
that
and as I
actually
said-
get to that.
to what? To 1%?
Yeah.
Oh well,
So
not my
impossible is-
family, but
it's
people
not
that I
impossible.
know
Yes.
that have literally came from worse conditions than him in Cuba.
Yeah.
He was in good conditions.
And
I'm
they're
talking about
millionaires
they
now.
lived in a place with no address
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere, and they came like I think it was like 30 years ago.
And they became millionaires.
This family friend, he is a doctor. He just was in the field of medicine here once he came, and he kind of was like scoping it out, seeing what in Miami, what do they need, and then
Yeah.
he built his business, and he has a lot of family
Yeah.
that also help, and now he is.
Now
has
they
a
have
lot
one
of
of the
money.
biggest health business in
But he's a
Miami.
doctor.
Yeah, but
It
to
doesn't
answer-
matter. You still have to do the like
the
the
work.
whole
I
process
get that.
He has to
again,
do
the whole
the-
process
the
again in
school
English
here, yeah.
in a different language. I mean, It's not easy.
Yeah,
They
but
get it.
I get it's not easy. Just the
But I'm
percentage
gonna
of people
answer
that
Alex's question. Alex, yes, I agree with you. The chance of me getting there is very slim. But am I gonna stop
there's a
trying?
chance,
I'm
and
not.
that's
I'm not
me.
saying don't.
So
don't
that's
stop
the
trying.
bottom line. So as long as I know there is a chance, I'm gonna push
But
for it.
you
Now, if
know-
it
I'm just
happens,
saying
happens.
that they're
For sure.
actively working against you.
Yes, they are.
Doesn't
And this is
matter.
my job to
I'm gonna
figure out
fight
what the
with them.
loopholes are. Everybody always gonna actively work against
The
you.
bottom has loopholes too. They don't have a job because they don't want
Bro.
to. Because they have their bills paid by Medicaid.
Some yes, some
The
no.
business-
Bueno,
all
That's-
depends.
The
Not all
business-
of them,
a
but
full-on
Right.
lie.
I'm sure a
All
lot of
government
people have
assistance
loopholes.
is to keep you on government assistance.
Yes, but then again, a lot of people
Yeah.
take that and then see it as a way out, and that's what they do. I'm not saying that doesn't
And
happen.
if that's how
that
they
happens
choose
too.
to
But
live their
that-
life,
Right, I'm
that's how they
saying like
choose
a
to live their
loophole.
life.
You have a
Yes.
small business.
And
you
this
have
is
a
how I
small
choose to
business.
live my life, to evade taxes in a legal way.
I would allegedly. I wouldn't
Allegedly.
say that on the internet, but
No, because you have the actual laws and loopholes. Well, what are you doing? I mean, if you want to call it, that's what loopholes are. They're just evasion of taxes by proper means, which technically is not an evasion.
Not illegal.
It's not illegal.
Yeah.
So
I mean, people get processed and prosecuted for loopholes all the time.
If you did something,
they do,
Yeah, I guess.
they do. But
What a loophole
majority
is
cases that they're-
something that you are a gray area that gets figured out in
Not-
court if you get caught.
Yeah, now the gray area, yes. I'm not talking about the gray area. You know, like there's other ways that are legal, that are black and white, that are legal ways of not paying taxes. And a lot of people use that. And to me, at this point, it's not, there's no point for me to go there because I'm not making that kind of money. And if I do make that kind of money later down the road, now it's an opinion of me. Okay, am I going to do it or no? Again, it's up to me to live my life the way I want to live, just like somebody that elects to be on government assistance only. So why do they get to choose to be on government assistance only and they can't live their life the way they want, but somehow I, when I'm making money, I can't? That makes no sense.
Whoever said that?
Okay.
But the
I
thing
don't
is,
think anyone said that.
like he's saying, like, oh yeah, the government is trying to put you down,
Yeah.
and your way to get to that point. Of course, but let me tell you this: if you have a small business, the small business right next to you also wants you to fail, wants you to see you fail.
Yes.
Like
'Cause they're in competition with you.
The exact small business right next to you, he want to see you fail.
Yes, they do.
So it's everywhere. It's not because the government. It's
gotta fend
everywhere.
for yourself.
You have to fight.
Well,
That's it.
You have
That
to
is
fight.
the government.
So, but
Because
yeah,
the
but
government is also putting both of those small businesses against the major corporation that
Yes.
keeps giving them money.
Correct.
And they keep passing laws
Correct,
that
correct.
keeps
And
those
it's gonna be like
corporations
that.
from being
Yeah.
able to take out those small businesses
it's gonna
without
be,
any
but
fuss.
it's
But I-
but it's
I
gonna
can
be like
understand
that.
that,
Once
yeah.
your family or somebody in your family has the power, they don't want to give up the power because that makes you money. That secures your future. That secures your generational wealth. That secures your power. When you have power, you don't want to give up power. That's a human thing. That's a normal thing.
I don't know. It doesn't sound like that. Just doesn't sound okay. Like you can't just be like, yeah, because that person's so powerful at that point. Yeah, let's just look at it as okay that they can lobby enough money.
So let me put it in a different way.
swindle the
Let me put it-
system in their way. Like that just cannot be seen as like, oh yeah, let them do it.
Exactly.
So let me-
I'm sorry. Like I get what you guys are saying. Fend for yourself in a sense. Fight for your shit. I get that, but we can't just be like, oh yeah, he's got to that point because he tried so hard, and now we're just gonna let him fuck us.
Yeah,
Well,
but
Because he
but-
tried so hard. I don't really.
But let
agree
me
with
tell
that.
you this. Let me tell you this. You thinking in the actual way, you thinking in the road. If you think in the end of the road, where we are gonna get at the end of the day, you can see that the people that used to blame everything on the government don't get anywhere. And these people that think like us, that think like, yeah, it's a lot of trouble to get there, but I'm going to try to get there. It's the people that actually do something.
I get that, but we can't look at it as okay for them to just.
Well,
I'm not saying it's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I'm
but-
saying in this world,
But in a sense, you are because
situation
you're
that
like,
I'm
oh, I would
living,
do the
I'm
same
going to
thing.
try to.
That's not really right.
Well,
Well, so
what
let me
would
put it in
be
an
the right
example.
thing to do then? Because you earned that money, but also you want to
Give
protect
everybody-
that money.
And you did it because you had the chance to, right? And then you're getting to the top and then saying, no, I don't want anybody else to do it the way I did.
Well, let me give you an example. So let's say
Pull the ladder up.
yeah
on
yeah.
your
So
way
let's
up.
so let's say you become multi-millionaire, and you want to buy this specific Ferrari. But nobody can get their hands on the specific Ferrari because they're not producing. You just can't get your hands. But you know someone that know someone that knows someone. You give a little bit of money, and now you can have the Ferrari that you wanted. You're not going to fucking do it? Of course you're going to do it. You're going to jump ahead of the line, and you're going to buy that fucking Ferrari because you got money. And this is how rich people work. Because the immediate thing, like today, you need a TV, you go to Best Buy. But imagine this TV was made of fucking gold, and nobody could get it unless you had fucking money. But you want a golden TV. What are you going to do? You're going to fucking pay the money and get the golden TV because you can't afford that. That's why we live in the United States, because you have the shit and then you have the best. And you have the right to work to try to get the best while you're eating the shit. Or you can continue eating the shit, never getting to the best.
But what about when you're born in the shit?
If you're born in the shit, I understand. It's terrible. But we cannot talk about more of a born in the shit than somebody coming from fucking Cuba.
Yeah, that's right.
True.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Absolutely.
This is my point. Now, am I saying all the people that come from Cuba are successful and making a lot of money? No, but I know for sure as many foreign people that I know that came from different countries, they're fucking hustling. They're doing something. They're trying to get somewhere.
And the people born here are homeless.
And to me, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
To me, that makes no sense because he just easily could have been fucking homeless. Am I saying that there are no Cuban people that are homeless in the United States? No. There are some Cuban people, I'm sure, that are homeless.
Yeah.
But as a foreigner, you come to this country, especially from shit, and you're like, I'm not going back to that other shit. I'm going to do everything possible to get to where I need to go.
I absolutely
This
get
thing
your
can get
view
the worst he
across
can get,
the board,
and I'm
but
not
in the sense
gonna leave
that
this place.
you're just gonna say, "Oh, because I will do the same thing to advance myself." When you're already at such a high level, it's kind of like, well, who the fuck was saying that? Like, oh, well, that person should not be making that money, kind of thing, right? Like, you're already making so much, like millions and millions of dollars. What the fuck you need so much more money for?
Then where is my incentive to make that money if you're gonna take that shit away from me?
I get it.
What's the point?
I get that. Make the money and grow and keep growing, but don't have to put down the others in the process.
You don't have to.
That's all I was saying.
I agree with that.
There you go.
Taxes on $1 billion hurts a lot less than 20% on 36 a year.
50% on $1 billion, that's $500 million. $500 million. $500
and guess what you have after that?
$500 million.
That's millions of dollars.
Yeah, but $500
you
million.
Still have
that's
you have so much
10,000 people's average household income. 10,000 people's average household income. $500 million.
All right, guys, we're gonna, I think, cut it there. We're already past our 2-hour mark. Getting late here. So
not 10,000, but 1,000.
It's a good one today, guys. Thank you, Manuel and Jessica, for joining us.
Yeah,
and Kevin
thanks,
for coming in.
As always,
Alex.
Let me see if we have any more comments. Let me see if we have any more comments.
Yes,
like the whole thing of higher interest. Yeah, like the whole thing of higher interest rates and things like that. I do agree. I know of somebody that has a really good credit, but they're super fucking young, and right now they're thinking to buy a house and they can't because they're afraid they're gonna get hit by a higher percentage. So I don't know how that's helping anyone really. All I need, food stamps and free health insurance. All right, Peruano. Okay, out of the person that fucking works 60 hours a week. The reason why people aren't millionaires is because they spend too much time complaining about how difficult it is instead of getting. Well, I don't think that. I think there's a lot of chance of luck. It's not.
It's
not as simple as that.
But I do agree, complaining doesn't help.
Complaining doesn't help, but it's not necessarily that the people complaining, because sometimes they're. So look at it this way: a lot of times when there's smoke, there's fire. I'm sorry, but there is, and then you're looking at the fire, right? And then the real factor is really only that little bit of smoke in the corner. And those are the real people suffering.
Yes.
And then, the people that are just complaining and playing victim card, that's why you get, you're like, fuck those people, right? Because they're just taking advantage.
Yeah, and then
but there is those people in the corner, the smoke, that is legit.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. Those people need help. But the ones but how do you differentiate between the two? And that's where the issue starts.
So many people take advantage, right? Like 80% of those people in that situation probably taking advantage. I don't know. I'm just throwing a ballpark, but I'm saying majority.
Yeah.
Or decent amount, I'd say.
I don't want to say majority, but I want to say there's a percentage that's taking advantage. There's a percentage that they're okay with their situation, and there's a percentage that really need help.
Yeah.
Like, and it's really hard to say who's who.
Yeah.
And there is no system. You cannot decide who's who. There's no way you can physically go in there and say this is the situation. Because, you get caught stealing bananas.
They can definitely tighten up a little bit.
You get caught stealing bananas or mangoes in Cuba. You're swearing by all the saints, your mom and your grandma that already passed, that you didn't do it. It wasn't you, but it was you. You know what I mean? So how do you figure that shit out?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, guys,
thank you guys for joining us. Everybody in the chat,
Alex,
appreciate
going back
it.
and forth. I think this is what makes this podcast better, because you get both sides of the coin, and you get to decide guys, what you want to do.
That's why I need Alex here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
it was actually really nice to make Alex. He's a really interesting guy. Yeah.
Yeah, because you gotta have an intelligent conversation. You can't just have a fucking one-sided conversation. You know, stick has two fucking ends.
What'd you say, Alex? I didn't hear you.
So it was good to meet y'all.
Yeah, and thanks for coming in today. The story is pretty crazy. I like it. You know, just because kind of remind me of where I came from.
Yeah, I can come again and talk
Viva Cuba Libre!
a lot more about that.
Yeah, we'll have you on again for sure.
For sure, yeah. Come on and talk as many times as you want. Anybody, but we've invited. You guys have more than lucky to hit us up and come in anytime. We always have we can always bring chairs, and we can always bring
peek. I hit up an old friend of mine from middle school and high school. He's an artist now. He's got a couple albums out, and I'm gonna have him on.
Yeah. Let's do that. Yeah, let's bring him in and have him talk about that, because I know Alex knows a lot about the music industry and stuff like that.
Well, you guys have a great night. Thank you, Alex, Manuel, Jessica, Kevin, all you guys for coming out again one more time. Love y'all. See you later.
And on your way out, hit that like button, guys.